folks? Welcome back. Thank you so much for waiting. I'm so sorry about the tech gremlins. Take it away, folks.
Thank you, pal. All right, so I genuinely don't know where we left off exactly or where it
It was
cut
literally
out.
right after I stopped talking. Shit just went like. Beedle-doo-doo.
Shit. All right then. So, Arctos and Arctos, Yele, and Amaya, to paraphrase, had taken a moment to sort of talk amongst each other, and eventually, after Amaya had urged Arctos to do so, he stood up and approached the table, put his hand on it, and his wrist link pulsed down into it and created a solid projection out of the little particles of silicon that make up the polished surface of the table. And it coalesces into a relatively raised mountainous area, a small chunk of Camp 4's overall territory, which is pretty big. Like they basically given Camp 4 the better part of like 200 miles square just for itself to account for development and growth. And technically, they got a little bit bigger than 200 square miles. They got a little like closer to 200 by 300 because Camp Haral and Camp Geraldo literally both border up on each other. So the Oroname camp gets its own allotment, and the synthetic camp gets its own. So they kind of cheated the system by having two camps so close together. They got a slightly bigger planet. And right on the within like a good 30 minutes ride from Camp 4 is this location, this little grid coordinate that it zooms in on and displays. And on it, there's a series of crystalline growths around the top of this mountain. Very clear, translucent, like a pale blue, likely some kind of naturally occurring cobalt crystal. And in addition to that, just below it is a number of like targeting indicators pointing to within the soil. And Arctos sort of gestures to it. We believe this would be the reason why you would want to continue funding our colony's development. Despite us being behind schedule, we believe we might have found ourselves a valuable resource. Again, I can't tell you exactly what it is in present company. No offense meant, Doral. And Doral just sort of like bows his head and nods, smiles. His like blood red eyes kind of flash charmingly. None taken. I understand. I'm just here as an investor. I have no credentials for security. However, if I need to leave the room to discuss this, I can. And Arctos just kind of looks over at you, Kushitaka.
Oh, Callum, thanks, buddy.
The threat level increases. Well, then, that's interesting.
Carl, I would never do something like that to you in your game.
That's a lie.
Thank you so much. Well, with that, the threat level rises from nothing to low. I will keep that in mind. And when we gonna do, if we get into a battle, which we might, it will automatically increase it from low to medium by 1 step. So keep an eye on that, folks. Yeah. So Arctos kind of just like looks at you, Kushitaka, and just inclines his head like, do you want him to stay and learn, or do you want him to leave? Will you vouch for him? It's basically what he's asking.
Oh, no, I would prefer if he stays. If he's going to be the angel investor of this colony, I'd prefer him to know all the details before he shoves it all off onto me, whether it passes or succeeds. I can read a room.
That's fair. So, Arctos nods again, sort of leans back. All right. Well, if you're willing to take that potential risk security, then so be it. We're not precisely sure what we found, but what we have found is ancient. Several thousand years old, below the surface of this world's soil. We're not sure how it ended up here. It could have been buried. It could have been part of a larger complex, though we haven't detected any other ruined structures nearby, or at least none significant. What we can tell you is whatever it is, it appears to have an extremely powerful power source. electromagnetic flux around it is quite high. And he holds his arm out, and as it does, it displays a series of readings. And I'm not an electrical engineer. What I can tell you is there is a certain amount of voltage where if you run a certain amount of electricity through an object, it will create a electromagnetic field powerful enough to actually fuck with your ability to scan something. So if you're using like deep penetrating radar, or if you're using sonar, you actually might have your readings somewhat thrown off by a powerful enough electromagnetic pulse. And this thing is effectively so powerful that if they get instruments close enough to it, they just don't work properly. Treat level enjoy, thank you. I saw that. So he sort of gestures at that. What we have been able to tell you is that our probes can't penetrate its surface. Whatever it is, it's more than bulletproof. And we've tried all the way up to using explosives to mine it. Small blast explosives. We're trying to preserve the environment, of course. So these small shaped charges can't even penetrate it. And he reaches below the table and puts this little thing on the surface. And it's about the size of like, cup of coffee. Like I would say like a coffee shot, like an espresso shot. Puts it on the table, and the very top of it has like this little metal cone on it that's sort of has this little dim diode that's not currently lit. And the bottom of it is just orange with a black and yellow hazard stripe around it. These things are powerful enough to penetrate through armor plating on constructs. Puts it on the table. Didn't make a scratch. As far as we can tell, no structural damage of any kind. Which leads us to believe, based on the resilience of the object and the electromagnetic power it's exhibiting, it's possibly an Anazali artifact. Possibly.
I look
Likely
to Doral to see what...
pre-collapse.
I want to read his expression when he hears that.
For that one, make me... That's going to be an interesting one. I'm just reading your character sheet to make sure I got the right one here. I would say for this... I would say awareness is good for this.
Cool. And would that be intellect?
Yes. Next to each of the disciplines, it'll have the little bracket, and it'll tell you what the attribute it's linked to is. So it should be int.
Jesus Christ.
No, you're good. No, dude, it's been 2 weeks. It's a brand new system. It's not like we don't play 80, and it's not like you guys can look up a wiki on this. So I'm working on that.
I got a 5.
Starts creating the wiki.
Yeah. One day. Okay.
Sugar.
So you got a 5. Okay, no, that's fair. Let me just roll behind. It's nice because since I'm not streaming this, thank you, by the way, Derek, for being a host. You guys don't necessarily need to all see all these rolls. Okay. So I will roll this one here. The big die. Oh, yeah. The big die. You can tell that when he hears the word Anazali artifact, immediately Doral's like face sort of lifts a little bit. His like expression like slightly lightens. His mandibles pull back a tad. He leans forward an inch. Like clearly that caught his he was already paying attention. But that caught his interest. And he sort of leans forward. Anazali, you say? Oh, that's intriguing. I wonder how this ended up here. I don't recall there being any star charts being, well, on this world. And Arctos holds out a hand and shakes it. In fairness, we don't know precisely where the Anazali did and did not settle. The Imperial was so widespread, they just considered the entire galaxy their domain. Any individual world may or may not have ruins on it. We are not sure. This, however, might not even be a ruin. We've sent for a Voyager to assess this, precisely for this reason. It could just be a lone artifact, maybe something lost in transit or misplaced. And Doral kind of leans back in the chair a little bit and steeples his fingers.
I think that the best thing is for us to have all of the facts. Sorry, I'm not doing my voice. My fucking throat is fucked.
Dude,
allergies going
don't
today.
take a voice that's going to destroy you. You're
No,
good.
it's okay.
I think it would be best if we got all of the facts. I feel the best, most appropriate course of action would be to send a team, discover what entrances might be found, and get a summation of what it is that we're looking at before we just blindly start digging holes and firing upon structures.
Yule stands up on the other side, and his gelatinous bulk kind of like waddles around the table as he sort of goes to strafe on the opposite side of the table from where Arctos is. He very much walks in the same gait as like Robotnik from the Sonic games. Like he's got that kind of like bowl of jelly sort of motion to him. And as he sort of sits down, as he sort of like plops himself a little bit on the other side, I would be inclined to agree. I would rather not disrupt anything that might further agitate the water. However, if my colleague is willing to send out a team, then you also have the support of Camp Harral. We are in this together, after all. You see Arctos look across the table and sort of give him like a little nod, like a thank you. He just gives a nod back. I would provide regional support. I would suggest that we send, as an observer on behalf of Camp Harral, one of my interns. And Yule holds out their tentacle and like gestures to you, Amaya. Amaya's a capable field negotiator. I'm sure they could be an asset in case anything happens out there.
If Amaya is able to get you two to work together, then she will be something that we cannot live without. An excavation such as this will take lifters, engineers, security, everything that a small team might need to dig up a big ruin.
Just so. And at this point, Dural stands up. I would like to accompany this away team. We should go and scout the site. And I would like to see precisely what it might be. If this is a piece of my heritage, I would like to observe it with my own eyes, or barely see where it rests. If that's all right with the two of you. To which Arctos and Yule both give each other like a look across the table of like, and there's a silent conversation that happens between their eyes, and they look up. Arctos speaks first. The planet is still being developed, and the biosphere is stable, but there are wild animals out there. Things that we have not yet contained. It is on the outskirts of the colony, and as a result, we leave it to develop for the ecosystem to continue to further and stabilize.
I'm sorry, it's just funny to me that they're talking to this super rich guy about, like, it's dangerous. Like, oh, I can't buy protection.
I was thinking the same thing, like...
Do you
This
not
man won't
know
have
how
escorts,
rich
fine.
I am, okay?
Exactly.
I
have an
don't buy
orbital
fuel,
station.
I burn money, okay? That's how I got here.
The spacecraft that we flew on here, yeah, that's mine. I just wanted to slum it for a little bit.
I just rented. Literally the Bruce Wayne moment where they're like, I'm not sure they'll let us do that in Bruce Wayne. I'm sure they will. I own the place. Pull two chairs over.
Yeah.
Like,
Just-
Dural just kind of gives him this wry smile, and I promise you, I can take care of myself. Besides, I won't be alone. I'll have Amaya with me, and our friend Kushataka here, I imagine, would want to survey this location themselves. Plus, you have a few other people on site you could send, I'm sure, Arctos. And Arctos kind of looks over at you, realizing he has volunteered you, although you kind of seem to have volunteered yourself before, but he seemed to have made it official. He just wants to look at you and be like, are you sure this guy might be rich, but it doesn't necessarily mean he speaks for you.
I will, as they're talking about me joining, I will kind of just give an affirmative kind of nod and be like, as long as everyone here understands the dangers that may await as we try to unearth and dig up this artifact. As long as everyone is okay with those, it's fine. I'm willing to go and lend a hand.
Arctos would nod and then look over at you, Kushitaka, and just sort of give you a nod.
You don't need to worry
Oh.
about me.
All right, I'll offer some provisional support of my own, and he'll rotate his wrist, and as he does, you'll see this little flickering of blue light as his wrist link flares into life and creates a series of double-sided holograms so that you guys can see them as well. And on it, he pulls up 2 personnel files, and then there's a third one, but the third one is currently fuzzed out, and he just sort of clicks it and just right, and then minimizes it. I have 2 personnel that could be of value to you. One, Becky Booker, an engineer, very skilled, a freelancer, technically not directly in my employ. They're currently in the process of rebalancing a reactor on the other side of the settlement, so I can't spare them at the moment, but consider them over to your cause and under your command for the time being while you make your assessment. The other one, a Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton, is that right? And like Arctos literally looks over at Yule, and then like Yule just sort of shrugs and right. Louis Vuitton. Oh, I see. There's an apostrophe. Vuitton. Louis Vuitton. Vuitton is a capable jockey. He tends to work with Booker. So you get one, you get the other. I'll have... I'm sure that Booker can handle the reactor today on herself, but I'll send Louis your way. Hopefully he's able to take the message, and he taps for a second on his wrist link. And Louis, where are you right now? What you doing, buddy?
I'm talking with Becky here. There was a guy on a really cool black bike. I think he was coming to see you. I hope he found his way. He looked rather intimidating. Didn't really want to stop him in any way. Becky tried to start a fight. I don't know if that was allowed, but he would, so he was allowed in.
You would see like on your end of the message, just like that little message read ... for a second, and then afterward, yes, I've met the one in question. We're currently in conference right now. Could you do us a favor and report to Hab 3?
Sure. Bring my mech suit. Yeah, bring old Donatello.
Yes, we will require your machine.
Okay. All right. I'll be. Where? Sorry. Where was it? Hub 3. Hub 4.
Hab 3.
Hab 3.
The one you sleep at. Yes, that one.
Bed in the bedroom. On it. Okay. I'll see you in the bedroom. Real
Out
quick.
front, preferably.
Out front of the bedroom. Okay. Right.
The comm switches off, and Arctos looks up at you, Kushitaka, and although he's a machine, and his mostly silicon outer plating does not have all the same features of human skin, there is enough of it to blush a little with warm blue light. I promise he's well worth dealing with. He is an excellent asset, I promise.
No jockey that I've ever met that wasn't a hassle wasn't worth it any time, so I'm sure they'll be worth it.
Perfect. Well, with that, I would recommend you go and head out to Hab 3. You'll be meeting your team there, the one that isn't here already. I'll provide you any provisional support you might need, any munitions you might require. I recommend going armed, although this place does not have any pirates or any threat of violence insofar as, beyond the odd brawl between colonists at the bar. It is never a bad idea to take those into the wild, especially considering, well, the wildlife that might be in the area.
I will require all the provisions that one might need to survive in an inhospitable land, and obviously I look to Dural some security. to ensure our safety, at least the safety of the camp that we make.
Oh, well, for that, you won't have to worry too much. The site itself is only a 30-minute ride from this place, so we don't need to worry about building a permanent emplacement there yet. What you'll be doing is going there with this, and under the table he reaches down and picks up a device about the same size now as a potted plant. It's a lot like the shaped charge you saw earlier, but this one doesn't appear to be explosive. Instead, it appears to be sharpened on one end, and on the other end there's like this little stick with what appears to be a light on it. And he just sort of puts it on the table. The whole thing maybe looks like it weighs about 15 pounds. This is a sonar beacon. If you deploy this, it'll begin to rapidly scan the entire terrain of the area and triangulate precisely where we need to dig. This is step 1 of opening up such a site. So if you can bring this there, secure it while it's getting itself, dug in and calibrated, you should be good. After it's been dug in, we can begin sending drones underground to begin to mine and scan, and drones above ground to begin building an armature around which we can work, something that we could have on-site researchers doing their job. Most of the mining that we do is with smaller micro drones. We do our best to avoid the large open pit work. This is a brand new world, after all. It's hard fought enough to try to terraform it. We don't need to undo that work.
In that case, I'll leave you to it. I have my own preparations to make, and I have had a long journey.
Of course. Hab 3 does have an open bedroom if you'd like. We recently constructed her, but about 5 years ago, and, she's still not fully filled out yet.
I look a little bit disappointed at that, but I try not to show it. Wonderful. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for your time. And everyone sort of stands up at the table, and they all bow at the waist. It's kind of customary in the Union to usually only offer handshakes between, bipedal organisms. There are some species, like the Oroname and, the Click, whose biologies are so non-human that the gesture doesn't always translate one-to-one. Oh, one final thing I should let you know. You should probably have access to our on-site AI. That would be Calla. Oh, man. Calcifer, are you here? Hang on. Calcifer! And, he literally knocks on the table, and you see a little wink of orange light slowly flare into being. And, let me just get this open. And eventually, a simple three-dimensional icon appears, and then projects into 3D space. A diamond with 2 little triangles on the side and a pair of glowing orange eyes. The whole thing sort of flips back and forth, looking almost like a fire. This is Calcifer. Calcifer is our symbiotic on-site AI. It can offer you any provisional support you might require and steer you around, as well as also give you valuable insight into the terrain, environment, and do threat assessment in case of an emergency. Calcifer sort of looks at you and blinks, and makes a little musical chime, and it sounds almost like a whistle.
Just kind of nod at the little cute fire guy.
All right. Well, with that, I suppose I conclude. I leave them in your care, Calcifer. And Yule and Arctos bow as they walk past and leave the 3 of you in the room. And I feel like this is a good moment to flip forward a little bit in time. So, and also technically this is an hour into stream. We had our little break earlier, but does anyone need to go to the bathroom now?
Yeah, I could use it. I could use bathroom break.
Okay, we'll take a little bio break fast.
All right, don't go anywhere. Anybody, we'll be right back after
Did
a few minutes with more Legacy.
Hang in there.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. Thank you very much for waiting. I surely do appreciate it. Omni, what's happening?
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate that, Derek. Yeah, so we're gonna fast forward from where we left off, and we'll say it's about like an hour or so. I'm gonna say it probably took you about like half an hour to 45 minutes to walk your mech from where you were, at least to go from where you were in your mech to Hab 3. Speaking of Hab 3, let me quickly pull that up for you all since we actually do have it drawn. So, Hab 3, also known as Hab Maria. She is the latest of the different Hab modules. Almost all the Habs themselves are stacked relatively high. Each of these modules is built one on top of the other, on top of the other, literally stackable like Legos, built off of a flash manufactured concrete slab, usually made out of local earth, and they just literally click one on top of the other until they reach the appropriate height necessary. Because this is a brand new one, Maria is brand new, as in brand new for Camp Geraldo, which is within the last 5 years. So it's still sparsely populated. It was supposed to be about triple the size. Thank you very much, Walsh. It's supposed to be triple the size of what it is now because it's supposed to be full of people. But unfortunately, because of the stalling colony development, fewer and fewer people have been thawed out as time has gone on. And so Hab Maria was supposed to be really like one of 6 by this point, and she's still the most recent Hab. The lower floor is designed as a like sort of a bar area, kind of. It's a vague, large communal gathering space where people just happen to drink and also play games, do whatever it is that they like, but oftentimes drink and sell drinks and make drinks. On Frontier Worlds, there's often a pretty thorough understanding. You let colonists do whatever they gotta do to get rid of their stress. Long as it ain't gonna hurt anybody, who cares? So if anyone's out there distilling wine out of the drippings from a reactor, as long as it's not totally unhealthy, you're A-okay to do it.
I'm sorry, you want to run that one by me again?
Oh yeah, no. So fun fact, Cherenkov reactors use charged water. They use charged particles, H2O, to create Cherenkov particles, which means that when they lose power, that water is often distilled out, and any other chemical reactants are distilled into a separate container. And if you use the right catalytic components, you might be able to create a pretty powerful ass mulled wine. This is also known as engine grease by a lot of the jockeys. So it is also known for, depending on who makes it, being like enough to knock out even a Shrike in like 2 to 3 cups. You know, the kind of thing that you want to drink if you've been working miserable, hard labor on a frontier world with no chance of going home for like years and years. So,
Is Kishimoto going to be a narc?
So I will say, as you approach this site, I'm going to ask, like, how do you all get here? I imagine, like, you and, like, Kushtaka, you and Amaya probably just walked here, unless you took your bike. It wasn't that far for you. It's like 15 minutes or so.
Vroom, vroom.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see in the front, there's a little area where you can actually park any transit vehicles you might have. There's a bunch of open space there. The road that this is on is kind of just like a quarried path going down. They just sort of tore up the side of the mountain in strips to make a path. They didn't do too much of it. Again, they're trying to preserve the planet as best as they can. But for this area, they just sort of like flattened out a chunk of the mountainside in like a stepped incline. So it's mostly just sort of like sandy soil, this close to the beach anyhow. From Hab 3, you can actually look down the mountain and see the relatively large ocean. It is an inland ocean, I should mention, so I guess technically a sea. And that's actually where you come from, Amaya, or at least that's where you've been spending your time, in Camp Heral. Camp Geraldo is the terrestrial side of it. So the doors themselves, this thing is made to be used in any environment. So the walls are super thick and sturdy and solid ceramic. The airlock is designed to be possibly vacuum proof. And so this thing is basically a bomb shelter, a stackable bomb shelter. for lack of a better term. They even anchor it into the ground using stabilizing cables to make sure there's no static discharge that might cause any unfortunate explosions. Depending on the planet, the atmosphere can be hostile. But, here it's just in case there's a landslide, it's just one more thing to keep this thing upright. The top level is where you live. It's actually built where it's got about a total of 10 or so different accommodating rooms, at least base. But in order to make do, they've kind of split each one of them into a half room. So you basically have, as I recall, something like 20 odd rooms on the second floor, all relatively small, with a tiny viewing area on both sides.
Can I make a request?
You may make a request.
I would like to absorb that other half room.
So, let's get to that then. Also, one final thing I'll mention in front of it. You'll notice right to the right of the door, the airlock, there's a little blue box-looking thing, like a dumpster. That's actually a 3D printer, also known as a printer forge or a matter forge.
They just have
It's
these
not
hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. You'll see there's an
Picture
Oriname and a Shrike just kind of vibing there in shadow, just hanging out. That device is used for basically manufacturing whatever it is you might need. They are actually tied to your interstellar account. So if you need a piece of equipment, you just sort of pay for it and it spits it out. If you provide it your own matter, it'll create whatever you need out of it. So it's a super useful little device. And you can often see a lot of colonists will be hanging by these things in a queue, waiting to get the saw that they need, or a new pillow, or clothing, whatever they might require, this thing will spit out for them. So eventually, you would get here and you would see it's pretty quiet. You guys are here about midday, I'd say, at this point, mid-afternoon, probably. So at the moment, the glow from inside is pretty dim because the lighting is adjusted to the planet's current time.
Is there a line for the matter printer?
At the moment, there appears to be three separate there's three separate folks waiting for this thing at the moment. Yeah.
Wait, come back. I'm gonna go see about my room first.
That's very fair.
Accommodations, as they were.
And just so you all can see, specifically in front of there are of the three species, an Oriname, that'll be number 7, a Shrike, number 8, and a synthetic, number 3. All just vibing. The Shrike's currently the one using the thing, and from the furrowed brow on his eyeless face and the snarling he's making and the occasional kicking into the thing, he's clearly not having a good time with it. So if you head inside, which I'm going to assume, where are you all going in particular? I'm assuming you guys are both going in.
Where was the administrator?
The administrator is currently gone. Arctos and Yale run this whole place. This hab is just basically the people who live in it. There is no
commandeer my own quarters then.
Pretty much. Soon as you step inside, and let me just let's get some more appropriate music going for here. I believe for this, we can probably go with, yeah, that'll do. Okay. So, the interior of the hab. Well, it smells like it's lived in for sure. Very often you don't really deal with the intricacies of the different scents of the Union. And yet here, every species stank is in the air. The air filters are clearly broken in Hab 3, and they're currently working on getting them back online, which is probably what the Shrike outside, who's been kicking the thing for, has been doing. But in the moment, this place smells like stale sweat and a small amount of smoke from what appears to be one cliquish individual on the far side of the chamber, currently playing around with a soldering iron and making something. I'm not exactly sure what, but whatever it is, clearly they're busy. They appear to be, though, I don't know how else to describe this. They appear to be carrying a large amount of goods next to them. A set of boxes built on a carryable backpack harness that's done to strap around a Click's carapace. is lying on the ground. And on it, you can see a number of things, including what appears to be the silhouette of weaponry. Next to them, you can see a couple of human colonists and a synthetic, all just talking and chatting and literally drinking down wine. It smells pretty potent. And to the right and left are two stairwells that seem to go upwards, and you can see one or two folks coming in and out. Now be where your rooms are. With a quick look through those rooms, you realize that only like half of them are used. So, yeah, you want to take one? Go ahead. When you get in, you realize the divider between it, it's basically particle board. And it's designed to be literally screwed into the bottom with a ratchet wrench. So you can either pull it out the old-fashioned way or just kick through it, and it comes down like nothing. Very quickly, you realize the beds are like right next to each other, and you can sort of push them together.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm not a small person by any stretch of the imagination.
No, yeah. Thankfully, the hab rooms are big enough for even a Shrike to sleep in, but that is exactly what they're for. Sleeping. That is it. There's like, for some of them, enough room for like a human to have a tiny desk side thing. This is just your bed, basically.
Do you know how depressed avians get if they're in too small of a living quarters?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. There's a reason that there's not many like Acris here, honestly. And this is one of the many reasons. Frontier living requires Acris accommodations, usually for the Acris. You also hear the sound of what appears to be showers down the hallway. And when you sort of poke your head out, you can see that, like, there's one set of showers. They don't really differentiate that.
They have the water to spare?
From what you can tell, the slight chlorinated smell of it, they're recycling that water.
Yeah.
Filtering it, recycling it, filtering it, recycling it over and over again, using a catalytic converter to pull the gross shit out of the water and likely use that for other things. You did see a small garden along the back. Nothing big, but enough. And that's probably where they're diverting the black water to, and then filtering it through on the other side and then through a catalytic converter.
Can I purchase like a pocket decontaminator to just like scan over my whole body with using my energy reactors?
Yeah, no, actually, entertainingly, your wrist link does, in fact, have a very simple scanner array on it, which should work perfectly fine as a Invader Zim style, how many bacteria do I have on me wand.
Oh no, I don't want to scan. I want to decontaminate. I don't want to have to take a shower in the gross broth.
Kind of like a UV
Yes.
contamination.
Yeah,
That's
one that will
fair.
leave me feeling clean, because that's also important. The psychological aspect of being clean.
I want to say, like, give me let's get a roll on for that. Let's see what you can find given your current circumstances.
Or what you can make.
Yeah, exactly.
You might be able to get one from the 3D printer thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Something went wrong. Something definitely did not go wrong, sir. I don't know why you didn't show me the character sheet, but it should be right there. There it is. It just didn't want to do its job for a second. Make me an awareness roll, if you'd like. Or you could make a social roll, which, honestly, you don't have any of the social skills, so that would be just willpower based.
That's crazy. I rolled the same thing I rolled last time. A 5.
There you go. Nice. All right, that's good. So yeah, a 5. So after asking around for a couple of minutes, because you realize, like, looking around, you're like, oh, okay, maybe I can find this. And then you look on your wrist link. And as you do, you can see the local colony network chimes on. The Prism connects. The Prism being the interstellar internet system. And as it does, it scrolls through all the locally available, commercially purchasable devices. And you realize, oh, right, I'm on a colony world. And the selections are limited out here. Usually out of just basic security. And so as a result, when you look for something a little bit more like a personal, like, decontaminant scrubber, it says, look to your local merchant for acquiring further goods. As, like, it basically just goes like, no, there's nothing for available here. But it does flag a local merchant directly below on the first floor, where the dude was working with that soldering iron.
You said it was a click, right?
Mhm.
I'm going to go see that click after setting my stuff down. I have like bags on bags on bags and stuff that were like mag locked to my bike that I've hence like had to like pick up and hard boy carry up the stairs and what have you. So I just kind of like probably spend like 20-30 minutes organizing my stuff, being that I'm going to be here for a while. And it's like clockwork for Kushataka at this point. He's so used to just going somewhere, setting up, and then bouncing as quickly as possible. So he does not anticipate spending any heavy amount of time here, but we'll see. Yeah, that's me.
That's fair. That's like this has been your experience, honestly. Like most colony worlds, you've been in this exact type of hab like 80 times. The Frontier Corporation loves reusing assets, and whenever they can, they're like, "Oh, okay, you need a hab? Well, let's go give them a hab module for it." And they just keep giving them like the exact same thing. There's a reason these things are stackable, because as opposed to making bespoke structures, they're just like take your habs and make your Lego bricks into whatever you need, and just kind of saw the walls out in between wherever you don't need them. And it tends to work pretty well. Speaking of colony worlds and the living on them, Maya, you've actually weirdly been in this exact kind of hab underwater. The only difference is down there, the entrance isn't on the bottom, it's on the top. And they literally cut a hole into the roof like a moon pool for you to come into. But otherwise, it's the same. They just submerge the whole thing and make it out of rust-resistant material. So you also realize that living underwater, you've had a couple of advantages. No small amount of them being that water constantly filters through. It doesn't often stagnate underwater. So smell doesn't pervade your habs down there as often as they do up here. But you can find your own little hab room if you'd like, very easily.
Yeah, I will go upstairs and I will take a room that's close to Kushitaka's room. I figure since we're going to be working together, we might as well be somewhat in close proximity. So I will take a room. Wherever his room is, I'll take like the adjacent room, like the room across the hall.
Okay. Yeah, this thing is like the size of a small motel. So like it's like literally just it's one ring basically of a hotel, of a motel. So like yeah, you just take the next one over. Except honestly, even motels give you more privacy than this. This is literally just like rooms separated by metal wall, separated by like particle board of some kind made from compressed wood pulp from the planet's trees, which is a very rare use of this. And then you realize, oh wait, no, this is sawdust. They're compressing sawdust and glue to make this shit. So they're not really using real wood. They're using what's left over.
Right.
So yeah, no, you get a room that's like literally on the other side, like opposite his in the hall, which by the way is like barely big enough for a Shrike to walk through. You're probably talking like, I want to say maybe 8 feet wide tops. So they're pretty compact. It's big enough where if a click wants to turn around, he kind of has to crawl over himself a little bit. These things are not made for comfort; they're made for functionality. So,
I would like to go look at the bathroom or where the shower area is.
Yeah, you can easily follow the sound of running water, and at the moment, you can. When you get closer, you realize that it's not running water. There's multiple different shower types in the bathroom. There's what appears to be what we would consider water showers, but they use actually like squirts of water, and then they use sonic arrays to vibrate the water up the body and capture particles off of it, and then drop the water, pull the particulate matter out, and then do it again. So it's almost like you're kind of stepping through like... It's almost like a scanning sort of array in science fiction. You've probably seen a bunch of times, like the laser scanner kind of thing. But it's literally moving like a wall of water up and down, scrubbing you with each pass. The other one you see is what's currently in use. And on the far side, there's a large Shrike. You can tell because Shrikes stand like 10 feet tall. And even with the stalls, like where you are, and your relatively like short body, I think you're like what? You were like 5 foot, almost nothing. Is that go like 5'2", 5'3"?
Something like that.
Yeah. You're not super short, but you're
I'm not
smaller.
super short.
Yeah.
I think I'm. Oh wait, I have 5'6" on here.
5'6". Okay, so you're
5'6".
actually you're actually decently sized for an Orname. Even from your like slightly lower perspective though, like the Shrike's head is completely visible along with the upper shoulders. And you can see what they're currently being washed in, which is actually sand. They're actually being blasted by sand, and it
That makes
sounds so much like water because by the time it hits the bottom, there's a little sonic tray that captures it, scoops it up, and ruffles it around, and you're not hearing water, you're hearing the sound of sand being jostled.
Is it?
You can't see anything. These all do have
Love that.
dividers, but like you can literally just see the dude just like hanging there like this off the side of it, just getting
Chilling.
like blasted. Yeah, just chilling.
And blasted. I love it.
Yeah, the
Gonna
room
be
is
smooth
very
AF.
warm. That sand is probably like about 150 degrees Fahrenheit at least.
Yes.
Yes.
Smooth baby.
Take care of your skin, and your skin will take care of you.
Is
So, yeah.
there in this shower area? Is there something that is similar to like per se a tub?
Yes,
Tub where I can soak because I need.
there is a tub you can soak in. So
That's what
like,
I wanted to know.
yeah, it's like it's not super big. It's clearly meant to be like a sitting tub, kind of where you get into and then close the dividers around you. But there is, yeah. You can see though, right next to it is a little sign that says like reserved for Orname personnel only. Because like, and right below it says like specifically in Orname script, ration your water usage. Water is valuable. Barreldine's water is toxic. Don't take it for granted. Like, so very clearly, like yeah, soak, get your daily soak in, then be gone. Thought.
Mm-hmm.
Your suit also, your atmosphere that you're wearing does actually have the ability to pressurize with water. So you can be soaking while you're walking normally without any need to worry about that. But if you want to have like but if you do, I mean, yeah, you're wearing spacesuits. Like for people who breathe air, it's going to be filled with air. For people who breathe water, it's going to be filled with water. Like, but that is a consideration just to be aware. If you did want to like just vibe out of your suit, there is a way to do it.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to know how do I go about soaking because I need to soak to get my, all my lovely toxic nutrients, Gotta keep the jelly moist.
Yeah. It is an important detail. Orname do in fact demand to be at least like in contact with water for a portion of the day. That's their resting thing. So
Right.
yeah, no, that's very fair.
So how does I think I would how does it I'm assuming that Kushitaka after having a long flight is probably a little bit hungry or wants to get something quick to like kind of eat before they rest.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would be thinking, like as my character. So does this place have some, so I'm assuming this place has something in terms of getting food? Like, are we talking like space packets of food, or are we talking like, how's the food work
So
here?
this is one of those few things in Legacy on the frontier that's actually pretty good. So on the first floor, you actually saw an area where you could get food, a small commissary. There's a larger like cafeteria elsewhere, but it's the same sort of thing. And sitting in one side of this little commissary corner is a food printer. So using the same technology that they use to manufacture machinery and equipment, they can utilize basically the same chemicals that go into carbon-based life forms and inorganic life forms to create food, literal food, out of nothing. Or out of, I should say, the on-site stored resources. So it's printing food out. And while at first it takes a little getting used to the fact that it might not always look exactly like what you're used to. Like you might order a steak, it might be perfectly circular like a hockey puck. But then you get closer, like, oh, the marbling's pretty good. It tastes pretty decent. The most advanced ones can even replicate cell structure.
So
they can
hungry.
create like actual meat and vegetables from almost nothing. Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I would say once we get settled, I think in the time that Kushitaka takes to get their room together and Amaya gets a room and figures out the whole shower situation, I'll probably go to Kushitaka's room, knock, wait for them to open and just look at them and say, food? Are you hungry?
That would be lovely.
We should go downstairs and grab something before we rest for the night.
Yeah, I need to pick up a scrubber as well.
Sounds good. And then we'll head downstairs.
About now is when you would arrive, Louis, downstairs to Hab 3. Hab 3 is one you're in fact quite familiar with. It's where you live. I'll let you choose whichever room you want. It's a little more set up than the others, I'm sure. And it's probably... I don't want to say... Did you think you would have knocked down the barrier between you and a dividing room, or you would have stepped in just one?
Just the one, I think. I'm not here to cause any chaos, not here to bring any walls down unless I'm told to, so I think
That's
just
fair.
the one.
That's fair. It's nice and homey in there. Like, it's comfy.
Yeah.
You're well adapted. I figure you can park your walker, like your you can park your construct in front of Camp Geraldo's housing hab, like in front of Hab 3, like right next to this little hovering bike that Kushitak has arrived on. This giant, like, better part of 15-ton humanoid construct comes and stops, and the top clacks open and reveals a self-poking inside.
So as soon as I see the black bike that I obviously recognize from that intimidating man earlier, I do think to myself, really hope I'm not here to work with him, because that would be really intimidating. I would not like that.
Yeah, you do realize you have been reassigned to a new task. They didn't tell you who you were working for. So...
They actually just told me to wait outside here, and I'm half tempted to just wait until someone collects me, but I think I'll go in and get some food. And at the risk of saying this, and I apologize to my DM, I think my bed would probably be close to Becky's, because that's how we would have met and became friends.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Like, I'm going to sleep next to your partner. Sorry. Like, I didn't want to say
fine.
that. I was like, how do
I'm
I
a
tactfully say
GM.
this?
It's okay. I can be professional. I'm not gonna. Please.
I would
I
have
will
definitely
put-
said it just to take the piss.
I'm gonna put this on the table for my players and my viewers. I leave romantic entanglements between characters up to my players' best decision making. If you think it's a fun storyline to run with it. I can separate myself from my characters. Can you? But yeah, no, that's very fair. I think that'd be pretty reasonable. Like, I'd be willing to bet you guys even have like neighboring rooms. You probably, in fact, you don't like tear the divider down, but probably like you might have card nights where you just pull the divider up and put it to the side and like play card from like one bed to the other.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's perfectly fair. So yeah, you have your two rooms set up there.
What's magic called in this universe?
Magic in this universe. So in Legacy, there is no magic per se.
Magic the Gathering.
Oh no, it's Magic the Gathering.
Oh, it still exists.
Yeah, like this
Nice.
is 400 years in the future. Like if you guys want to collect vintage card games, by all means, go ahead.
Oh,
like,
they're
they're
not still
folks-
going?
I don't. I want to say return to Zendikar is probably where we're at now. Sorry, return to Zendikar. So it's gonna be Zendikar, the return to Zendikar Reborn. There
I
you
have a
go.
really
That's our
mean
current expansion.
Eldrazi deck.
Yeah. Kushitak over here like, I'll trade you Ulamog's if you have an Ulamog spawn. So yeah, no, that is a thing. And entertainingly in this setting, because of the way that most people get their stuff, they're usually not buying the cards. They'd be buying the template to 3D print the card. So at which point then you have the license to print it once and then it expires. So yeah, future capitalism. It's okay. At best. At best, let's be real. It's at best okay.
Yeah,
So-
I've watched this shit. Good job.
Cheers! I had to make the world somewhat recognizable. Unfortunately, capitalism still exists on many worlds.
Yeah.
Not on all of them, but on some of them. I'm going to say you all walk into the lower room about the same time. So, at this point, Kushataka, Louis, from across the room, as Kushataka and Amaya are walking down the staircase, you see each other for the first time since your meeting on the slab.
I deliberately avoid eye contact, and like as I'm walking, like, oh, I'm gonna go to that seat. I immediately turn right, as I see him coming towards me. Like, yeah, that's nice. I'm over here.
I'm going to get space Oreos.
Space Oreo.
I'm
They'll
going.
still fucking be there.
Oreos, clearly.
Sporeos.
I'm gonna
Yes.
look at Louis' sudden change in direction, and look at Kushataka and be like, "Have you met that person before?"
I don't know.
Be like, "Well, they seem to know you. It was kind of an abrupt turn, almost like they're avoiding you. Did you happen to get into any conflicts when you arrived here?"
No conflicts, no.
I love it. He doesn't think that's a conflict. I love it. I'll be like, okay.
If you want to try to like roll awareness for subterfuge, I'm willing to let you two do it to try to conceal that. But for you, Derek, it will be subterfuge that'd be tied to intellect, and for you, I should say Kushataka, that'd be subterfuge tied to intellect. Amaya, that would be for you. I'd be willing to say negotiation tied to will. And I think espionage I'd say espionage is probably an appropriate like proficiency you could use on this if you have it.
Cool. Got an 8.
Will.
Okay, nice. Very nice. So, you actually wait, an 8? You rolled a 6 plus 2 base.
And then the fortune die was a 1.
You don't subtract that. Those are 2 separate dice. You just take whichever one is higher. So you just throw that shit out.
Yeah, so it's 8. 6 plus 2 is 8.
Oh, motherfucker, my brain. I was like, wait, what a minute? Sorry. Okay, so you rolled an 8. So that's 4. And don't forget, that's an exploding die. Keep that going.
Oh boy. Okay. Roll. Do I just roll?
Yeah, just another
Yeah.
D6.
Okay.
Keep going until it stops giving you a 6. So that's
Okay, next one was a 3.
So that's 9 total. So that is a 9 plus 3, 12. Yeah, no.
Yes.
So
And then
despite-
espionage is a +1, so
Oh
whatever
yeah,
that-
no. That's obviously a success. Amaya, your 4 eyes sort of like lock on to Kushataka for a second. Do like a little like I'll let you decide how you portray it, but yeah, you see through that in a second. They have 100% met each other, and on top of that, something happened. It might not have been like violent or really that bad, but it was clearly awkward, and it has caused some tension. Like
okay.
you don't need to be a public investigator to know that.
Okay,
It didn't
so
publicly hurt though.
I will look at Kushataka and be like, I'll be like, when you landed, I'll be like, how did you come about acquiring your bike?
Same way I do on every world. Just hack into the local system, vehicle printer, get it to print me off a fresh one without any serial numbers or license plates or anything. And, I'm allowed to do these things.
Right. Did you happen to do this in the place that you landed?
Yep.
And you were just able to walk out of there? No one questioned you? Or perhaps
didn't say
tried to
that.
interfere?
Plausible deniability.
So no one said anything to you about the bike?
I didn't say that.
What did you say?
I didn't.
Louis, you're close enough where you can hear this. It's not a big room. This is like 1/4 the size of your average like Waffle House. It is not a big place, and there's not many people here. The only
Paul might
sounds
not get that
are
reference.
That's fair.
I watch TV. I know what a Waffle House is.
But have you
I
been
know
inside one to
sometimes,
know how
like,
small they are?
I've never heard, I've never been around Americans so much to hear several different forms of measurements that aren't just metrics. But, like, I never use coffee cup as a form of metric or Waffle House as a form of metric. But
Listen, we are contextual people.
Yeah.
Yes. I find it's an easy way to be
inside.
like,
yeah, no, I get that. That's
yeah,
fine.
if I give someone like it's a 25-foot by 50-foot
Yeah.
room, like, yeah,
I'll
sure.
be like, the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, and, like it'll take them a moment to be like, oh, if I walk like toe to toe to toe, and it's still gonna give them a good gauge. I'm like, yeah, it's about the same size as like your average Motel 6. And they're like, oh shit, I get that. Like,
Fair enough. Yeah, that's fine. So I peek up. So, Becky tried to stop him, but he was bigger on the tappy tap than Becky was, and it kind of pissed Becky off. But it's okay. Becky is my friend.
Becky, as in Becky Booker, perchance.
Becky Booker, yeah, that's the one.
So I guess you would be Louis.
Yes, hello, Louis Vuitton.
Louis
Nice to meet you.
Vuitton. It's nice to meet you. I am Amaya, and this person who you've already met, this being,
Mhm.
this is Kushataka.
Nice to meet you, sir.
at this moment, I'm going to reiterate for everyone who's currently watching the different species of Legacy, because this is kind of relevant. We have a bit of an odd trio here. An Acris, a species that stands anywhere from 7 to 9 feet tall, with wings built into their forearms that extend upwards to almost 25 feet in width, and incredibly strong claws, sharp talons and beak, and covered in plumage, sitting next to a sylph, the number 4 on our chart. That would be a more of a femme presenting sylph. The mask presenting sylph do have some sexual dimorphism. A long, almost axe-like head, and tend to knuckle walk. They range anywhere from 8 to 10 feet in length from tip of head to back of tail, and are covered in scales and highly colorful quills, and frequently dress in a near Victorian era amount of leather and normal plain cloth. And finally, an Oriname, a cephalopoidal / molluscian species, translucent to line up to your sight, standing vaguely humanoid, but basically with all the body consistency of your average bowl of Jell-O. And all 3 of these are just currently standing, vibing, chatting in the middle of this tab on a distant world. I just like to remind people that our player characters are not humanoids. It's very fun. I like that. So,
I'll be...
after...
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. While this is happening, next to you, the Click, who's been working with the soldering iron, slowly looks up from what they're doing and squints, says, so, are any of you going to buy anything, or are you just going to sit next to me and distract me?
Do you have Sporios?
And so, this Click squints, and I now have the art of them up on screen. That would be our friend right there. Click come in many different varieties. Some are just like pill bugs with a hard and almost like blackened outer shell. Others are like leaf hoppers where the shell comes to hard points and are often bright green. Cogsworth is a unique variety of Click, also known as fluffy Click, colloquially. They are covered in bristles not unlike a moth, and even have small wing-like projections off the sides of their carapace. They're entirely designed to be there to fool predators, so that when something comes and grabs a bite out of them, they get a mouthful of fluff and nothing else. But it makes Cogsworth, this very autumnally colored, fuzzy creature, very much a standout. Cogsworth looks up at you with these bright blue eyes and brings one of the 4 paddles that are its arms to its head and moves a monocle out of the way, sort of squints. Of course I have Sporios. I also have Spabisco. Do you want what would you like? And he just like reaches down and pulls open a pouch and puts it on the table. And you can see there's like about like 5 to 6 small packages of like frequently made different kinds of like interstellar treats. Some from human worlds, others from other species. There's one particular one that appears to be shrike-ish, and the package is moving. But it clearly hasn't indicated that.
I immediately, like before I'm even standing up, I'm messing with my wrist link to start paying the click for the Sporios.
The click just holds up a hand and waves and just passes one over to you. Take it. So few people want these things nowadays. They'd rather just print themselves steak or get themselves a Gnawin cone or whatever the hell else they can think of out of those stupid machines. He just sort of points over towards the matter printer. Of course, they all come running back to me the second the thing breaks down. But in the meantime, well, I do my job mostly making tech and requisitioning it from entirely legal sources. Cogsworth, by the way. And extends one of the paddles out to you.
With a mouthful of Sporios already, Kushataka extends a hand out to him.
Sort of takes it, and you get that like paddle in your hand, and the click have no thumbs at all. It's just a flat paddle with barely any articulation to it. There's not even a claw at the tip of it. It's just kind of this flat, slappy thing, and just sort of take it and shake it. And they sort of pull back. So, I don't recognize you. I might have seen you in passing, and he points over at Amaya, and looks over at Louis. And I definitely recognize you. How are you treating that giant rust bucket of a machine?
Yeah, very nice. I call it Donatello. It's pretty good. Thank you for asking.
Excellent. Next time you need a drive impeller replaced, just let me know. I'll print it out for you.
Yeah, thank you.
As far as you go, you're not even from this colony, are you, Atris?
Sorry, you were talking to me. I thought you were talking to Paul still. I was making sure my wife is okay. She had to take
Oh,
my
no, that's
car
fair.
because her car was not starting earlier.
No, that's fair.
Refresh, please.
Oh, it's all right. He was just saying, you're not even from around here, are you, Atris?
No, I'm from a very far away place called Nirvana.
Nirvana! Oh, well. Hell, didn't think I'd have anyone here from a human colony, let alone Atris. Interesting. Interesting. Nirvana, huh? And they look you up and down a couple of times. Yeah, no, you know what? Looking at your style of dress, that tracks. That's Mirage and chic, all right. Right down to the black robes. And just sort of like lifts one of your silks up and sort of looks at it. Yeah, good quality, though. So, that's the case, then. Well, you must be Union, then. You have to be. There's no way you're just here on tour to some random backwater. You don't seem the type that's here doing humanitarian work. I hate that word.
That's actually exactly what I'm here doing. On a tour of this backwater doing humanitarian work.
Mm-hmm. I'm
I'm
sure.
an inspector for the Union.
That's what I actually expected you to say. Honestly, I'm surprised it's taken this long.
I mean, when you think about it, it is. It is humanitarian work. Like,
It
other
is.
people going to be stuck there on a shitty planet, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And also, Skag, just, the Click have always talked like this. It made me laugh very hard when you did it the first time.
I've been slowly shifting away the longer these two talk. Like, I just want to be over here. May I ask, is the line for the matter machine fixed? Not fixed, gone. You don't fix a line, it just goes.
I got you, yeah. If you want to peer out the door, you can see the line has, unfortunately, it's the same length, but different people waiting in it, except for the Shrike, who's still at the thing at this point.
Did you mean the food
actively
line?
Beating it. If you mean do you mean the food line, or do you mean the
Yeah,
one for
sorry,
the
the food line. My apologies. That was
Okay.
my badly describing words.
Oh no, you're good. The food printer's clear at this point. Someone just walked by and they now are walking away with what appears to be a plate full of pudding. You hope it's pudding.
Oh no.
Yes, I'm gonna go through the food line, I believe.
All right. I always like to ask, what do you want to make? Because the food printer here is actually pretty decent, so it can make you just about anything you want.
I am making a triple cheeseburger with a crisp lettuce, a perfectly ripened tomato, some burger sauce in a perfect spiral, because I understand these machines, like the little organizations, is perfectly circular. It's got a sesame seed bun with exactly 137 sesame seeds on it, as requested by me, because I'm a big fan of them. Next to that is triple cooked steak chips that are perfectly crispened with just the right amount of potatoes inside, and what I call heavenly peas, which is something my wife invented. My real wife, not my in-game wife, which I may or may not have. Is basically peas, just regular garden peas, but you sprinkle sugar over them as you're cooking them in water, and they
Nice.
taste very sweet and nice. So yeah, I'm having that, and I'm just carrying it like, yes, this is my nice meal. We'll just.
This is very on brand for Dim Dim Studios to make people hungry.
Indeed. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
just start quickly here. You enter your order in, and I like the idea that you have literally rendered this burger in your wrist link at some point to try to get it to print
Yeah.
out. You were like, and this is exactly how the seeds are positioned.
Oh, do it right. It's gonna be the seeds are gonna be in the. I forgot what it was called. What's a perfect spiral called?
Oh yeah, the Fibonacci.
Fibonacci
sequence.
Yeah. that.
So like as you enter it in, and your wrist link sort of blinks, and the matter printer just and just begins rapidly spitting out proteins. And at first, it doesn't look like it's going to be that great. Like it starts, and then you have that moment like, oh shit, no, please don't let it be one of those days. Don't let it be one of those days. And then the thing briefly just blinks, and you see a little icon, and on it, Calcifer appears over it, and just says, warning, this machine is currently out of order. Resequencing, beep, 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 reset. And then it immediately just takes the old order and just dissolves back into a gray sludge, siphons it into it back through a magnetic foil, prints it again, and this time it's perfect. And you just see Calcifer give you a little wink from his icon and then wink off completely.
I'm gonna try and wink back where his icon was, but I'm not sure if my species can wink.
You can. You do have,
Yeah?
in fact, you both have eyelids and nictitating membranes, so you can do it twice.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I go wink back at it, like, but in a very obvious, like, yeah, friend.
Mm,
you get the feel. Calcifer is the sort of person that will often give you like little thumbs up icons and like okay symbols and like well done hearts. Like you literally will wake up occasionally with just like little affirming messages in your inbox from Calcifer, like, don't forget, you're special and important. Watch out for your mental health today. Like stuff like that every day.
We
I
love
personally
positive
think
affirmation.
I personally think they're just for me, and I'm the only one that gets them, and that Calcifer just really likes me. And I've made another friend, so I'm like, 2 friends. Oh yeah, making 2 friends.
It's quite possible you actually might even be friends. Calcifer is a fully sapient AI. It is not just.
I'd be happy with being friends with Calcifer. Be a fan.
Yeah. So yeah, you get the things spit out in front of you pretty quickly, as you know, a little table like nearby. It's rickety, but it's usable. Clearly, it's getting ready to be fed back into one of the matter printers as material because it's been sat on a couple of times by species a little above its weight class. Probably that Shrike outside. Maybe even he's like currently pissed. Kind of hard to tell. There's so many things that are broken down in Hab 3. You can never really be sure what needs to be replaced first. So as you sit down to your meal, Cogsworth looks up at you, Kushitaka, and just sort of steeples his paddles. Well then, since you appear to be here from outside, I imagine you might be needing something a little bit more than just Sporios, wouldn't you? Do you need any, say, I don't know, firearms, illicit goods, non-locally available devices?
yes. All of those things.
Give me a list. I'll start making it happen. I'll give you the bill.
Do you have a decontaminator on you?
You would be surprised how often I sell these little babies. And he reaches into the pack and pulls out this little device. And it looks almost like a bubble gun, kind of, but it's all like it's just
Bubblegum.
straight it's just like straight silver, and you realize like the front of it, it isn't like a little bubble wand. It's actually a targeting reticle.
Mm.
After looking at it for like just a second, you realize this thing cleans you with lasers.
Mm. Perfect.
It pulses you with lasers and cleans you off like cleaning the rust off of a bar of iron.
That's exactly
by just
what I
like,
wanted.
yeah, pretty much. And yeah, he just holds it up, and that'll be 2 credits, 2 currents. What is it that they go by, Nirvana? I guess it'd be current, wouldn't it? Be close enough to the union.
Beep boop.
Perfect. It's all yours. And yeah, your current income ding ding goes down by 2 current, and you catch this device, and God, it's fucking heavy. This has clearly been made by hand, and it feels like someone took a circuit box and just like rammed it full of shit, and then put a laser projector onto it too. But yeah, it seems to work. It's pretty safe. You hope.
I tell him that you know, I'm gonna need to do a lot of business with him in the coming weeks, probably. So I'll have that listed to him shortly.
Oh, don't worry. Every time you're back in this settlement, I'll reach out to you. You aren't going to be able to get rid of me. I promise you that. And you're not going to find a better requisition officer anywhere on this side of the frontier.
I believe you.
Have a lovely day. Anything I can do for you? Or Nama? And you can see like the mandibles on their faces sort of like purses up a little bit, and like their faces are surprisingly emotive, even though they are literally just bugs. Like between the very fuzzy antenna and the posture, like they convey perfectly the sleazy salesman, please give me something to sell you kind of vibe.
I'm
Sell me this pen.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna ask them, would you happen to have something, say, plant-like to eat?
I do, actually. Something you might be interested in. The matter printers here aren't that good at doing Yoroname stuff, but I do frequent Camp Harral from time to time. Can I say I like spelunking? He reaches into his bag and pulls out a perfect vial of what appears to be what humans often call Neptune food, which is literally just like seawater from the local environment filled with little nanites and occasionally like little shredded particulates of kelp. And just holds it out. First one's free.
Ooh. I'd be like, thank you. And I'll grab the vial, pop it open.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that when I eat something, it like goes in and you can see it inside of my gelatinous mass, and then you just see it like dissolve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you literally sort of take the tube and like put it into your neck, and the little gills, the gill strips, you just sort of put it in there, and you sort of, anyone who's nearby can watch, like you just sort of and pull all the liquid out of it, and then spit the thing out and just sort of take it and hand it back, and inside you can sort of see the liquid and just slowly loses definition. It just becomes one with your cytoplasm. You're quite hungry. You're not hungry anymore. You're quite filled. And yes, you do in fact get your Sporios, Kushitaka. They are, in fact, just Oreos. But someone at the Nabisco marketing decided, what if we slapped space in front of it and sold it to colonists? And turns
Whatever
out
they're getting
marketing,
paid, it's not enough.
yeah, marketing 400 years in the future is about the same as now. If you can do no work and rebrand something, just rebrand it. So yeah, no, that shit works. So about like you guys have about an hour or so of downtime yourself before you guys get a ping on your wrist links, all three of you, and that would be from Doral, who you would recognize now. I should say, two of you would recognize. Louis, you've never been out. You've only been off of your home world to training, and then here, right? That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's very much it.
I'm not sure you've ever seen an Inazali before.
No, I would probably say it's fair that I haven't. I'm also absolutely petrified that we've all got a ping at the exact same time, because I'm still not aware of who I am working with.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that it's been the intimidating black bike guy is just horrifying to me.
Oh God, you're not wrong. That look, it is very bikery. So you all get a ping, and on your wrist link in a surprising in your native tongues, respectively speaking, is a well penned out message stating, "I'm en route. I'll be there within the next 15 minutes. Make your preparations." And then right below it, in a PS one specifically for you, Amaya. Amaya, as I understand it, the director might need to see you before you go. You probably won't be able to attend this particular excursion, but next time I would like you along. And eventually, would you guys wait inside or outside for him?
I personally would go outside because that's where he told me to wait. The fact that I came in for my triple cheeseburger is a bit cheeky for me. I was feeling peckish.
I'd be outside.
That's fair. Yeah, the stank in here is pretty potent. Not gonna lie. And eventually the soldering is enough to make you want to leave.
Yep.
And
Sure does not smell good.
yeah, after you guys wait a couple minutes outside, and the Shrike finally gets what he wants out of the machine, or at least enough to not or at least not enough to like try to make it reprint it for like the 30th time. Grumbling, he muscles his way in and then shouts, "Stop soldering the air! And air's filthy!" And just like the door slams behind. Eventually, you can see riding up on another hover bike, not unlike yours, Kushitaka, but this one in the nice sky blue of the local municipal authority, is that Anazali you met earlier by the name of Doral. Right now, he's currently wearing his helmet, so all you guys see is this black, almost matte plastic-like body frame, and this glowing set of red eyes peering through a largely hard to see through black enamel-like helm with a little bit of like red pipe lighting on it. All right, are we going?
Suppose so.
Together is all of us. Him as well.
You must be Louis, I understand.
Yes. Hello, Louis Vuitton.
Bhutan, a pleasure. And the Anazali walks across and extends a hand to you, and then realizes, right, you're a quadruped.
Yeah. I mean, I could try with my tail, but it doesn't really work.
Like your upper arm is still like you kind of knuckle walks. You can still do it, but it's sort of considered disrespectful on the whole. He just kind of like goes, "Oh right," like you can second guess that. A pleasure to meet you. Yes, I'm afraid for the moment you're going to be in the employ of I and mutual acquaintance, Mr. Kushitaka over here. Is that acceptable to you?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's fine.
Excellent.
Is Becky coming?
I'm afraid that Becky can't come today, but in the future, Becky will be accompanying us. As I understand, you two are kind of a joint purchase. So.
Yeah, we are. I like
Very
Becky.
well. You get a ping on your wrist link about this time, which is like it's just Becky going like, "Sorry, I can't be there. I'm currently stuck. This thing is driving me nuts. Hang in there. Hugs." Becky.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I feel like this is a perfect moment for us to, if you guys need a bio break, now's a good time for that bio break.
Sure, let's do it. All right, don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to take a quick 5 to 10, and we will be right back with more legacy storytelling in the world of tomorrow. everybody. Welcome back. Thank you very much for waiting. I surely do appreciate you. JJ had to step away for the rest of the session. You are in our hearts, gone but not forgotten. Omni, what's happening?
I'm in mourning. I'm in mourning. Okay, so let's pick up where we left off. I'm just making sure I got this all set up. And sorry, internet. What can you do, right? I can only make it go so fast. I can make it go so fast. All right, here we go. Cool. So, let's do that. Works. So that should be. Okay, good. Yeah, I do have that here. All right, so we'll go with this for now. Well, I wish this would play. Here we go. Cool. And a little bit less on that. Sorry. It's very quiet. There we are. That's more like it. Okay. So the ride out is about 30 minutes of travel time. And even with your walker plodding behind, it is still it's not too bad. In fairness, using your boosters to occasionally get a little bit of extra oomph and sort of slide across the terrain, as well as also just full on leaning on the throttle and making it sprint. The thing can go at about like a good 35 miles an hour when in cruise mode. And so like it's going pretty quick compared to the bikes, which can easily push like 80 miles per hour on the regular, or 100 kph on a good stretch. Like you're not really opening up the throttle for this. Honestly, for anyone who like is used to a town, this would be like out of town, but not so far out of town it's unreasonable to drive to. The forests of Barreldyne are beautiful. This world, even though it is struggling to be terraformed, clearly life has found purchase. As far as you can see in almost every direction, trees dot the mountainous landscape, and pools of water, rivers flow. And the water here continues to be this beautiful, brilliant cobalt blue. No small part of that's from being somewhat poisoned with heavy metal, but every once in a while, a clear stream flows. Ice melts pour from the tops of mountains. And the trees that are here, oaks, by the riversides, you'll occasionally get cypresses, and a lot of pine trees, all seemingly healthy. This world is a surprisingly terrestrial biosphere. The mountains themselves, there's no real path through them. Most transit on this world is done between orbital shuttles. So you would set down at your local spaceport, take off, hop across the atmosphere, land somewhere else. So you're riding over open country. This is where selecting a hoverbike really kind of was the right move, Kushitaka. You very much get the vibe that you would probably be having a rough time in the saddle were it not for that. As for you, though, Paul, I'm going to have, Louis, I'm going to have you make me a roll very quick. I'm going to take a look at your character sheet for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Pop that bad boy open. And we'll keep that on loop, too. There we go. Letting it load. There we go. Okay, so, Paul, you're currently piloting your mech, which I believe I gave you the sheet for already.
You did, yeah.
Do you still have access to it, or do you need me to call it up again and share it with you?
No, I got it. I got this.
Okay, cool. So, as you are riding along, and let me just, yeah, that's right, because it's on the third page. Huzzah.
Mm-hmm.
So, your Donatello frame is pretty resilient. These things are rugged. They are meant to take a beating and keep on going. And in this open terrain, the real issue isn't will you get there. The real issue is will you get there at a reasonable speed. So make me a, let's say, considering your skill sets, make me a piloting roll.
Piloting, so +1.
Yes,
So
that is correct. Yeah.
What
Let's
am I
type your
rolling?
So that's going to be your intellect die. So that'd be a D8.
Yeah.
And your luck die. You choose whichever one rolled the highest.
Yeah.
And then add your modifiers.
Can
also
I roll
going to
those
say-
together? I keep seeing everyone else rolling them together. I don't know how.
Yeah. If you just literally type it into the chat, there's a command for doing it. Like
You can also use
roll-
the advanced roller.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
let's do that. Oh yeah, I'm seeing it. Yep. Okay. 1d8, 1d6. Oh well, we did it separately. That'll do.
That's
1d8 4, so 5 altogether.
And don't forget, you also have your proficiencies. So
Yeah.
I would say Walker training is appropriate for this.
Yeah.
This is literally what it's for.
Yeah.
So that would knock you up to 6 total.
Sweet.
So the terrain's pretty rough. And even with your mech's slight jump capabilities and
Mhm.
how bulky it is, like you come to realize that as you sort of think back to your training, sure, you can absolutely plow through these trees like they're splinters, like they're just like matchsticks. But you're trying to terraform this world, which means being careful of it. So what slows you guys down the most is actually just, Louis, you kind of maneuvering your walker between the trees and trying not to damage them as much as possible. Every
Yeah.
once in a while, like, you'll stumble and fall and land on a tree and it'll crack and you'll be like, shit. And like, adjust yourself.
Oh, that was a great oak. Oh, that's coming out on page rack.
Yeah. And but it about doubles your transit time, but it could have been way worse. By the time you guys get there, it's still daylight. It's like getting into the long hours of the day. The sunlight's getting a little rosier than you remember it being. So I'm going to flip you guys over. Let me just save this very quickly if I can. Yeah, here we go. So eventually, you folks end up at this large hill. It's quite pretty, actually. On the top is like this little area of moss over a largely brownish, soily kind of terrain. The rock hasn't been exposed here yet, and you think it's because of the crystals, which I will show you all now.
Ooh.
So, yeah, you're going to go scroll all the way down to the bottom. You folks are going to be arriving down over here in this area. So, anywhere within like 2 to 3 from the edge of the map in terms of squares. And don't forget, Louis, you're in your construct. So right now you are a large creature. So that means you would take up 4 squares, not 1. You're a 2x2. Okay. So you guys can create your tokens by dragging them onto the table and putting them down there in the bottom left-hand corner.
Oh, bottom left, excuse me.
Yeah, bottom left. Sorry. Yeah, I made a little ping down here. I realized it might not have been visible because of how big the map is.
Yeah.
Okay. And Louis, I'm gonna just drag you over here too. Click. There we go.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to expand you a little bit. I'm gonna make you a little thicker. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Lordy
Represent.
thick.
Mighty, a mighty boy. And then finally, I'm going to go over here and drag over. Here we go. Dural. If this will work for me, I would appreciate it. On the token side, why is this not working? Oh, okay, hold on. I gotta do that again. It keeps not doing. Oh, I see what's happened. I see what's happened. Mother Hubbard. Okay, well that'll do it. Let me just add this. Upload this as a token. I'm just going to manually put this file in. You guys saw how many things I had to upload today.
Yep.
Woohoo! Oh boy, kind of maddening, really. I'm going to do that again. Choose the other ones. We're going to do this twice. And then finally, we're going to upload this character. Here we go. Okay, cool. So, after much loading, and finally the completion of that loading. Come on, buddy. There we go. Hey. There we are. Our boy.
Yes.
There he is. There is the boy. So you guys park your vehicles just a little off the map. I'm going to assume that Doral sort of like puts down the bike and sort of it hovers there. A little metal spike sticks into the ground and kind of keeps it stable. And he sort of gestures for you to do the same, Kushitaka.
Mm-hmm.
If there's an artifact here, I'd rather not disturb it with the magnetic fields our bikes create.
I set the bike down and I grab this like large metal slat that's been magnetized to the bike, and I like take it off. It begins to instantly like pull itself apart and form into a large blocky ordnance caliber sniper rifle. I check the sights over, make sure that it's all good to go before it resumes its shape, and I like maglock it to my leg.
Okay, nice. Doral would sort of nod, and you'd notice he doesn't seemingly have any weapons on his person, but your character, I think, is smart enough. You know, and actually make me an awareness roll, specifically you, Kushitaka.
Four. I'm rolling bad today, which is bad because that means that I'm gonna roll good at covet.
Yeah, that do be how it goes sometimes. Okay, so, phew, yikes. So, yeah, nah, he seems unarmed, completely unarmed. That's weird.
I offer him one of my beam guitars.
He
Just
holds
in
out a
case.
hand and waves it. No, thank you. I'm quite good. Trust me. So, right now, I'm going to say that you folks have the run of the map. Try not to move too much farther than your pace on your character sheet in one fell swoop, which should be, again, in your character properties, run your attributes, top left-hand side. That'll be the number of squares you can move. Those squares, in terms of the parlance of this game, are called ticks. T-I-K. Tactical measurement unit, basically. It is my heroic movement scale that keeps my life easy. And where you're going to be going is the top of that green hill with all the crystals, in case that wasn't abundantly obvious. Doral just kind of takes the area in and looks around.
Oh, Paul, thanks for the reset, buddy.
Oh, thank you, man.
Dude, thank you so much.
It's because I realized, and this is really bad of a reason to subscribe, I realized my channel points weren't going up as quickly as they usually do, and I
I'll
want
take
to
it.
get Cal back.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right. So, how do you folks approach the area?
Am I allowed? I don't know if that wasn't a word or a sentence. Am I allowed to stay in my mech suit, or have I been told to keep that off as well for the electrical issues?
No. You're allowed to walk around in your mech. In fact, actually, he's kind of implied you should probably be using it.
Yep.
The only reason they're not using their bikes is because the bikes are maglev bikes.
Right.
And this thing has an electrical current. The crystals have an electrical current. They don't want to futz with that. Especially if this is some ancient artifact thousands of years old.
Yeah.
It might be seemingly impervious, but you never know, right? Like, stupid shit happens to stupider things.
I look to my commander in charge and ask when he wants me to go forward.
Doral sort of looks at the two of you. This is your colony, world. Wherever you'd like, honestly. We're just sort of looking for it. I believe the place we're going to eventually need to go is the top of this crystalline structure up here, but that's about it, really. To the northwest, just a hair. A couple 100 meters or so.
Well,
And,
in days like this, when she's not around, I ask what would Becky do, and she'd probably ask questions like, Has anyone been up here before? How safe is it? How much do we know?
I'm gonna make a roll for that. Our boy. There we go. Okay. So, Dural would look up at you in your mech, and you're pretty big. Like, you're very big, actually. You're not like at quite 20 feet tall, but in that you're around like 17, 18 feet off the ground.
Mhm.
And so he has to really incline his head to look up at you. And Azali are about human in height. Even in the suit, he's standing at about 6 foot. And you see his red eyes look at you through the lens. As far as I can tell, it's supposed to be safe. They did say there's the potential of wildlife in the area, but beyond that, the terrain's apparently stable. Like, literally just sort of does like a pat, pat, pat with his foot. We're on the top of this shelf here. I see no ice flows. Soil seems steady, and if you're able to walk in your machine, then I don't see why we can't walk anywhere we need. The big thing is just be careful when you get over to that ring of crystals above. Again, there's an electrical current. I'm not sure if it would affect your machine, but I just don't want you to experience some sort of electrical discharge, which is
Oh, there's
basically...
gonna be some discharge, I'm sure.
All right, you guys should have control of your own tokens, so go wherever you please.
Oh.
Mr. Rawls kind of...
Do you want me to lead with the suit, sir, or no? You're gonna lead. Okay, you're leading. I'll follow you.
Dural's literally just like strolling along the side of this little area here. It's like a little pool of water off to the left, and there's crystals growing at the bottom of it. He seems to be idly looking at it. And as you're asking for directions, he just sort of like waves like a hand vaguely in like the "do what you want" kind of thing. Like he seems very hands off.
Does this area? I think you can see my green ping. Is
Yes,
that like a naturally occurring bridge, or is that a bridge? I should ask.
It's sort of like an. It's sort of like a. It's not really a. Yeah, I guess it's like a bridge. It's kind of like a naturally occurring bridge. We're kind of on the second floor of this.
Sorry, I'll ask that as a better question. Is it naturally connected to the Earth, or is there like an underpass that you could go under it?
Oh no, there's no underpass that you can go under. The only underpass is to your right by like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like 12, 15 or so.
Yeah.
We're basically on like a raised plinth of rock around what appears to be a slightly undercut valley that's filled with green. The valley's really shallow though. It's more like a caldera.
Okay, nope, I do not know what a caldera is.
Volcanic lake, basically, or a volcanic bed that's been like,
fair enough.
Hardened.
So I could just jump. So could I just jump down it?
Yeah, make me a coordination roll.
I haven't decided. I haven't decided if I want to. I'm asking if I can.
You should be able to easily.
Okay.
In fact, actually, this is where I get to introduce you to a couple basics of your mech.
Oh.
Your mech actually has an energy rating on that thing, and it also has boosters, as I recall. It should, and if it doesn't, it means that the mech that you have at the moment is just equipped with boosters. That'll probably get fixed very soon. So let me just take a peek and see. You should have them. Oh no, you don't have boosters on this thing. Not right now. That's gonna have to get fixed soon. But yeah, you should be able to jump down. These things are hardy, and for the record, constructs don't suffer fall damage.
Oh, cool.
Ever. They're designed to be dropped from orbit.
Thanks, Soul.
So, ooh, hello, Soul. An increase in the threat rating. We are maxed out on threat rating, so that is good to know.
Maybe we could just end the session there. I think that'd be a great place to.
Not on your life, not yet. We got 45 minutes. I'm gonna milk it.
Do you think I should go down, guys? Like, do you reckon, are we safe?
Can I scout it out with my scope?
Absolutely. Make me an awareness roll.
Can do. Advanced dice roller. Reroll the same thing. That's better. That's a 10.
10, eh? All right. Yeah, no. Now I got to make rolls myself. Let's see. Okay. After into that. All right. And my advanced dice roller
Thanks for the lurk, buddy.
Yeah, much appreciated, pal. Okay, and that's the higher of the two. Yep. Okay, cool. Wah. All right, cool. So, as you're looking through the scope, you notice something a little strange down there. Nothing super stressful yet, but concerning. Down in that caldera, you see what appear to be paw prints of some kind. Two-toed. Could be a deer, maybe, or, some kind of cloven-hooved animal. This is, after all, an alien colony world. It isn't just terrestrial life that's being raised here. There's plenty of other things that could have this kind of foot structure. But what alarms you is how many of those prints you can see. There's a lot, and they seem like they're pretty fresh. The earth down there is freshly watered with rain, and you can sort of see like a lot of little muddy footprints, a little bit of a churn. It looks like at least 5, 6 of these things came through, and they, from the posture, appear to be bipedal, and given your role, I want to say they are moderately large, clearly moving in a group. And at this point, in the corner of your camera, like on the corner of like your heads-up display in your optic, you would see Calcifer's icon pop up immediately. And there's be a little ping, a ding-da-da-ding, as Calcifer's AI pops on board. Would you like a threat assessment of the environment?
That would be lovely.
Excellent. I shall process. Give me a moment. And then you just see Calcifer. The little icon sort of dances in the corner, the 2 little triangles on the top, sort of like moving from side to side, as it literally does like a little shimmy. And then after a couple seconds, they sort of reconnect to it. Processing complete. Threat assessment. High. Terrain appears to be frequently trodden by what appears to be predators. Identification. Unknown. Several species match possible footprints. Rescanning, and you see like a little pulse through your optic as the terrain is being literally filtered through and back again. And this is me reflecting your role. It's basically using the camera data you're feeding it to assess this.
Can I fly up onto this crystalline structure up here?
Yes, you can. You have a flight speed equal to your movement speed, so wherever you
Okay,
want to go, it's yours, buddy. That is about, for you, 4 directly above the ground. So 4 ticks up. So you're about twice as tall as I'd say the actual like caldera is only about 2 ticks deep. So you're actually about eye level with Paul's mech right now. And as you sort of fly up, Calcifer pings in your screen. Threat assessment remains at high. There is a significant chance of encountering wildlife. Please be cautious.
My sniper rifle unclasps from my greave and becomes a sniper rifle once more instead of a box. I rack around and I tell Louis that if when he jumps down there, he can expect a fight.
Okay, so if I don't jump down there, I don't expect a fight.
I don't think we're going to find what we're looking for if we don't go down there.
You'd see Doral kind of
Mr.
like
coming in from outer space with his black bike thinks he's so clever.
Doral would walk up next to you and just sort of look up at your machine. Come on now, Votan. You're the only one here clad in a couple tons of steel. I'm sure you can handle whatever wildlife is in the area.
Yeah, fine. I'm gonna just sort of hover down.
Okay. So, make me a. Are you trying to like do so? You're just like trying to land normally, or are you trying to be quiet about it?
And I'm just gonna land normally. I don't know how quiet
Okay.
my 20-ton tech suit is gonna be, to be honest.
That's
Fair.
fair.
Start tiptoeing around.
That's very fair. Constructs are actually capable of being surprisingly quiet if they're calibrated for it. But honestly, yeah, your Gilder frame is designed for heavy industrial work more than
Yeah.
sneaking. Even with its electric motors turned all the way down, the thing, it makes a decent humming. And the clank of the landing is pretty audible. You actually hear sort of the echo of the clank, clank,
Mhm.
clank, 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 clank come back across the mountains. And as you do, in the distance, you hear a and an answering from the other side. And you see around the edge of the corner this strange, around one of the crystals on the far northern side, peeking its head around this little creature poke its head from around the side. The thing's got to be like at most, about 3 feet tall. Not particularly big or threatening. Here's
Just
an
a
actual
little guy.
picture. Just a dubious little creature.
Previous little fellow.
So,
I like
Up on
how
the
they
rock-
click the zoom function. It brings up a picture smaller than the original. I think that's a really cool thing.
Roll 20.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can actually like make it bigger, thankfully, which is good. But yeah, so this little creature just sort of looks at you, and from what you can see, it has like this weird, almost hand-like head, kind of a little graspery boy, and it sort of just like looks in your direction and flexes its little antenna-looking like limbs, and starts to slowly walk towards you.
I trained my weapon on it, but I don't fire yet.
Well, hey there, buddy. You okay?
And as it starts getting closer, you see a couple more of them
Oh no.
Hey there,
around the
buddies.
corner.
Oh no. I'm gonna get ready to fire as quickly as possible. I'm gonna go down like onto my belly on top of this crystal.
Yeah. So, like, the for you as an Acris, this is that moment where, for a lot of species, hanging off an oblique angle on a crystal a couple stories up isn't the best sniping position. However, Acris have surprisingly dexterous limbs, and not just their arms, but also their legs. And so,
Yeah.
somewhere between like a General Grievous-esque sort of pose, you're anchoring yourself with one arm and one leg, while the other leg and the arms sort of manipulate your sniper rifle, with the leg sort of cocking it back so you can hold it stabilized against you. You're sort of hanging there like a living turret. And Doral watches these things approach. Oh no. I
What,
didn't
are
know
they
your world
endangered?
had rock. Hmm?
So what, are they endangered?
Not quite. Making a roll on his behalf. Oh yeah, no. Our boy is rolling average, and it's a good thing. Those are rock hoppers. I didn't know your world had rock hoppers. Louis, did you know your world had rock hoppers?
I'm just learning sometimes that my world has rocks, okay? I don't always know what creatures live here. Alright? Unless it lives between my bedroom and where I'm sent to work, no. Let's assume I don't know shit, alright?
Do I know what a rock
That's-
hopper is?
Huh, that's a good question. Let's see. That'd be a research roll for you, buddy.
I don't have research.
Intellect, then. Pure intellect.
Okay.
What are your proficiencies?
Extravehicular activity and espionage.
Don't forget, you also have say that extravehicular activity and espionage, and those are the two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, neither of those really would apply here.
Yeah.
Don't forget, you also have motes of legacy if you'd like that can re-roll your attribute rolls. Just spend
Well,
one.
did
per.
we all get those 3 points at the start, by the way?
Yes, you do. You all got free points. So each of you has a third one this session. So you have 3 re-rolls. And remember, they reset at the start of every session back to whatever your natural rank of legacy sparks is. So that's going to be 2 every session. So right now, you have 1 floating one you might as well use. So, aw.
That's my food, woman. Come back.
Hi, Natalie. In the distance.
My wife had Chinese takeout while I was on stream.
So, You could re-roll if you wanted. You would get a vague...
Nah, I don't have to know what these things are. That's not going to kill me.
Okay, that's
Might
fair.
kill me.
No, what might kill me is missing a shot later.
That's fair. So, looking at these things, you recognize the word rockhopper very quickly, but you realize your knowledge base of these things is very shallow. And Louis, make me either a research roll or just a base intellect roll, whichever you have.
Let me double check which one I've got. I think. Do I have research? Did I not pick research? Oh, silly me. No, just say intellect roll. So 1d8 plus 1d6. 1d8 plus 1d6.
Okay, so that's a... So
7.
you take the higher? 7, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so your knowledge is actually a little higher than Kushtaka. Kushtaka, you've seen many dubious little beasts across the galaxy. These are no different. You know what a rockhopper is in terms of, like, vaguely. They're a pest creature. They're very common. They actually come from the Shrike's homeworld. And they have sort of spread across the galaxy like Spanish pigs. They sort of arrive on any world, wherever they might need to be, and so be it. Whereas in terms of you, Louis, though, you remember, like, one of the courses you took, one of the mandatory courses they had to have you sit through in order to become licensed as a jockey in the Frontier Corporation. One of the ones they had was Local Fauna and You, a study of frontier biology. And in it, they talked briefly about what were known as interstellar, what we would consider exotic species, or interstellar invasive species. And as they, went on this long rambling rant that you largely tuned out of, not gonna lie, the one part that you did pay attention to was rockhoppers, at least in part. Rockhoppers are interesting. They're like ants or termites. They operate in colonies. These things come in many different forms and morphs, and they work in swarms to achieve their goals. And their goals are simple: replicate, expand, make a nest, grow new young, hunt, eat, replicate, repeat. And it's not uncommon for rockhoppers to build colonies, in some cases as large as multi-story buildings. In fact, actually, the bigger, more critical mass colonies, as they're called, are quite impressive and the size of small neighborhoods.
I have a follow-up question.
Yes.
What do I need to roll to put a fucking bullet through one?
That for you would depend on the gun, my brother. You're
Ordnance.
looking at... For your sniper, that'd be ordnance. Yes.
So that
That
is going
would
to
be the roll.
be a D20, right?
That is... it's tied to your... It is tied to your intellect.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, because this system is whatever, it just uses the same attributes for everything. So you're gonna be rolling your intellect, which is a D10, and it is a coordination attribute roll. So you'd roll your luck die as well. Choose whichever one's higher, then add your modifiers.
8.
8. Okay. So, looking at these little guys. Okay, that's more than enough. Yeah, no. Which one were you shooting?
The one closest to my friend.
Okay, so that would be this one right down here. Okay.
Sure.
All right, cool. So, and I'm going to darken my my pointer color so you guys can see it a little more clearly. How's that? There we go. Okay. All right. So, you aim down your sight and you pull the trigger. And as you do, you can feel your gun fire. Now, the Kestrel, which is the sniper rifle you have, I believe, the Kestrel's a traditional sniper rifle. It utilizes an explosive charge to fire a slug of tungsten steel at not insignificant number of the times the speed of sound. The slug is designed for penetrating through even some body armor, as on some frontier worlds, even the largest of creatures can be nearly bulletproof. And this little thing is the size of, like, I don't know, it's like 3 feet tall. It's not big. The shot hits it, and it just, like a water balloon, just dissolves into this
Amazing.
fine crimson mist. And it is just gone. It doesn't have a chance to scream. Just gone. And then you hear the shockwave of the gun echo back from the mountain because after having fired it, you realized you kind of just almost tuned it out with the action of firing. The other ones all immediately look up, and they go from doing their little sound to this loud shrieking wail, and they all take it up at once, and you suddenly hear not one, not two, but many more of these things.
What's there really a
around
need?
zones.
I mean, honestly, we could have made friends or asked them politely to. Did you really need to blow that one up? It looked like a watermelon. Come on.
Not likely.
I don't even have a weapon. All I have is this giant chainsaw thingy, and that's for chopping down trees. Okay? What do you want? Do you want to swing?
Pro
Fine.
tip: pretend
Yeah.
like they're trees.
Pretend like they're trees. Okay.
The
well,
network connection. There you
they're very small 3-foot
Back.
trees that I'm going to chop down because you can't make friends.
go.
I'm going
So,
to
at
stand
this
at the
point-
base of this crystal that my trigger happy friend is on because then they don't climb the crystal, they have to get through me.
Well, at this point, we're
Good
rolling
job.
initiative because this is the beginning of a fight.
Sweet.
And as that sound carries through the area, you can see little chunks of earth being moved aside as more of these things nuzzle their way out from below the ground and begin emerging. So, at this point, I'm going to just pull both your character sheets open for me and my edification, put those off to the side. All right, so here's how initiative works. You can either roll your awareness or coordination for your initiative, whichever you feel is better for you. Roll it out, you know what the highest is. And I'm going to do that on my end here.
So awareness or what, sorry?
Awareness or base your coordination. Since you're in your mech, you would technically be using your handling for this.
Okay. So a D6.
Okay, cool. And then for the rock hoppers,
13.
nice. Okay, that's a D and a D6.
3.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, going by initiative order at the moment, we have at the top. Oh, wow. Yeah, there you go. There's that 19. That's nice. So, Kushitaka, you're
It's a
first.
13.
13. Okay. Thank you.
Uh,
Kushitaka, 13.
Is that maxed out? Is that 6 that's green there? Count as exploding dice even in initiative?
It does. I will say it won't give you any particular bonus for rolling even higher right now. You are at the tippy top of initiative by a leap and a bound.
That's fun.
So, Louis.
It resolves.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So it's a 14. Huzzah! Thank you. So we have Louis. Above that, we have the soldiers. And those guys are rocking a 5. Louis, you're rocking a 3. And then finally, the last one's rocking a 2, and those are the workers. Cool. All right. So, Kushitaka, you recognize a clear change in their stance. They are no longer inquisitive and sniffing the air. They are now clearly threatened, and all their little eyes lock on you. And their posture changes. They sort of lean forward. The wing casings on their back spread and rattle, and it's clearly a threat display. They're getting ready to charge.
Kablam.
All right. So taking another shot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. So you have sniper training, as I recall, and qualified marksman.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh,
Okay,
I forgot to put that in the. Oh wait, I didn't roll damage on the first one. Got it.
Yeah, no, you're good. You didn't. You hit, and I assumed you rolled high enough for just. I didn't bother making you roll the first time. But from now on, you will be rolling in the future.
So do I need to take an aim action?
You don't if you don't want to, but if you do, that's just sacrificing your movement to do so.
Oh yeah,
So-
absolutely. I'm gonna do that.
Okay, cool.
I don't need to move right now. I got my boy down there for me.
That's fair.
Okay, so let's go ahead and roll the attack. I double the bonus of the aiming action. What's my modifier for aiming?
All right, so the way your modifier for aiming goes is it simply just adds a further +2, so now it's +4 to hit. So you should be good for that. And you reduce them, and there's no cover unless you're shooting one of the ones behind the rocks. So
Shooting the ones up front, that's a 10.
okay, cool. So looking at that, yeah, that's pretty spicy. All right, so that is a definite hit for sure. Roll me a damage roll now, based on your gun, which you do have a
On page 2.
D8 to damage using any sniper rifle. It's part of the weapon's base damage. So yeah, roll the base damage of your gun, which is 3d10 plus 1. So in this case, it'd be 3d10, 1d8 plus 1 is the total damage. Yeah, that's 22
30
damage. 30 damage, my god. And the AP, that's a pen of 4. So, okay. So, reducing that, yeah, no.
Kablam.
Yeah. Kablam. Yeah, absolutely. As often happens when you shoot wildlife with high-powered anti-material rifles, very few things survive such a thing. Which one were you shooting, by the way? Or
The one out
that
front,
goes-
yeah. That one.
Okay. So, yeah. You fire another shot, and this one just gets a chance to go before it just dissolves again. This sort of pops like a water balloon and dissolves. And the shock of the firing just echoes across the valley. This first one I gave you out of combat, but now you fired, you do need to manually reload, which will take an action to do so. So for one round, you will not be able to shoot.
Okay.
Unless you sacrifice your movement to do so.
Got it.
Now we're on to the soldiers. So, up until now, you've only seen smaller ones. Oh, and I almost forgot a very important person you got to roll too. Just gonna do that quick. Nice. All right. And that's gonna be 1. Okay, so from the sidelines, you would see, like, up on top of this rock face, Dolan would be sort of crouched over watching these things approach, and he would just shout over to you two. Do be careful, that they tend to come in large swarms, as I recall. And those look like they're just the workers. And after he says that, the workers, the soldiers begin to emerge. And you see, he is right. Nuzzling from below the earth nearby, a number of slightly stockier looking creatures begin to emerge from the ground.
Uh-oh.
Pushing their way from the stone. These ones are much, much sturdier looking. They're hefty, and unlike the other ones which had like 3 little claws and a little gripper form, these things seem to be far more in a sturdier, more resilient, like scissor-like head structure. And they don't seem to have that weird little, like, almost fleshy kind of nub on top of their head. It's just all claw. And so a couple of these things nuzzle their way from the ground and then shriek and begin to sprint at you. At you specifically, Louis. Let's see how fast. Oh, okay, they're pretty good too. So that's, make sure I got this right. So that's going to be measuring from here to there, using the ruler tool. Here we go. Okay. So getting to you, that'd be 5 squares. That's more than enough. So our friend, the Rockhopper, comes sprinting, running headlong, head down, like a raptor. And as it gets closer, it pulls its jaws open to attack. And the others all do so as well. And this is the moment where I get to talk to you all about how movement works among creatures in Legacy. NPCs move on the same turn en masse. They basically all share an activation. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So all 4 of these things come sprinting at you, attempting to mob you very quickly. And they are
It's a
very...
real shame you shot those other ones, you know. I wouldn't want you to waste any bullets on these guys. I'm really
Weren't there
pleased
yet.
we've got into the shoot first, ask questions, maybe sort of plan of attack here.
They're varmints. You don't talk to varmints. You shoot them.
So let's see. These things have yes, combat might. So D8 plus 1 plus another 2 on that. So that's D8 plus 3 for this roll. All right, cool. So good news for you though. These things they are not possessed of luck or any of the skills of a player character. Their rolls are a little simpler and easier to manage. So the first one takes a claw attack at you as it runs up and tries to clamp its jaws around you. And what is your defense on your mech there, my friend? I believe it's 5?
It is indeed 5 with armor of 11.
Okay, so the first one hits. I'm going to just do this all en masse. So the first one hits, second one hits, third one hits, fourth one hits. All of them hit as they all run up and, you're a 20-foot tall mech. You're like 15, 18-foot tall robot. These things are like 3 feet tall. It's not hard for them to hit you. You're like the broadside of a barn to them. They all run forward and clamp down their jaws on you and begin to try to crush down as I roll damage now. And this is where shit is going to get difficult for me. So that is D8 plus D1 plus that is going to be, okay. It's not insane. This is just plus D4. So each of these one at a time. D8 and then a D4. Okay, so, whoa, what the hell happened? Oh, it exploded. Oh boy, that's not what you want to see. So that's 14 so far, 15, and they have a pen of 1. So that reduces your armor to 10. 15, because of the fact that you are a construct, you're in heavy armor, which means that they are doing half damage to you after, basically after the roll is made. So they go from a 15 down to a 7, which is not enough to penetrate your armor of 10.
Oh, shit.
So the first one just sort of bounces off of you, and just not able to really hurt you as it's gnawing on you. And unless this one explodes in the D4 a lot. Nope, not enough. Same thing with the next one. As they all literally are just here gnawing on your leg. Unable to do... maybe on the way able to do something. And... okay, still not enough. Even the two that seem to get their jaws in a really good place, and you can hear, your mech kind of, as, the claw begins to crush down. You're not hearing, it's not doing shit. The metal is resisting quite well. However, and this is where I get to look at this. So, interestingly enough, I don't believe any of these things crit to hit you. One of them did. One of them did crit to hit you. So, when that happens, as you're looking down, you sort of see these things just gnawing almost comically on your legs. Suddenly, you just hear a little whoop, 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 whoop inside of your armor, and you realize it's showing warning, corrosive damage detected. And as you look down on one of your legs, you can see steam rising off the metal as saliva seems to be dripping off the inside of its jaw and onto your mech. And the sizzling of metal tells you it is, in fact, highly corrosive.
Oh, Jesus.
Your character now has... Yep. They are no longer just dubious little creatures.
I'm blaming 3 people for this. I blame Callum, Sol, and Derek.
What did I do?
You started... What do you mean, what did you do?
You were encroaching on their territory.
So, the way this works is this means you have I believe this is critical 2 for this thing. Is it? Yes, it is. Corrosion 2. So that means you have two corrosion tokens. At the start of every turn, I'm going to roll a d6 damage on you just automatically. And that's just going to be done directly to your mech. And every turn, that's going to tick over until you run out of tokens. So that's how this shit works. I'm hovering those 2 tokens on you right now in my notes. So just putting that down there.
Yay.
Okay. So, Louis, you get to go next. As these little ankle biters nom 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 on the bottom of your mech. Just clenching and clamping, and it literally looks like someone trying... You ever seen someone trying to cut a large heavy piece of wood with garden shears? Trying to get through it down, you just can't quite get... That's what they're doing to you. So what do you do?
I at first was like, oh, well, maybe we can talk this out. But I haven't paid for this suit yet, and if fuckers start destroying it, I'm gonna have to pay it off without a suit. So yeah, I start happily swinging away now. I'm gonna take my fucking chain lash sword.
Okay.
And just shred through things.
Nice.
So you have one-handed weapon fighting.
I do.
Which at level 1 means that your character basically gets to get double their initial attacks with a weapon. So that means that you have 2 swings with your Chain Lash.
Yeah.
And that's with only 1 hand. You
Yeah.
still have a free hand, so you can take a swing with one of your Manipulator Claws as well.
I will probably also do that, yeah.
Okay, so on your base character sheet, your combat is tied to intelligence. So in this case, it's your intellect.
D8.
That means you would... Yep, so in this case, you'd be using your mechs, so that'd be your processor. D8 plus 1. Nice.
Ah.
And whatever ranks you would normally have in combat on your base character sheet. So that'd be 3. This would be D8 plus 4. And you also have a D6. Take whichever of the 2 you like is higher.
D8 and a D6. They both match.
Explode. Pog.
Yep. Keep going. Keep rolling.
Do I roll them both again?
Yes, you do. You take whichever one's the higher.
Okay, D8 again, D6 again. So D8 is 10 and D6 is 10.
12.
So they're the same, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you add your modifiers, which your total modifier for combat. After you factor everything in, you're sitting at plus
14?
4, I believe.
Yeah, so 14 altogether.
14.
bad.
Okay.
My bad.
Roll it again. I'm assuming that's against the one dude. So
Yeah.
again, which one did you want to be targeting?
Is it which one critted me?
That would be the one over here on the rightmost side of you.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit that one with that.
Okay, cool.
'Cause that feels like a
Nope.
good swing. I can feel the crit. My anger is raging through this blade of mine. I'm like, hey, fuckface.
Very fair. Okay, so yeah, roll your damage roll. That's going to be your mech's output, which is D20 plus 1 plus 2D4. So,
D20
Yeah.
and 2D4 plus 1. 2D20,
Yep.
2D4.
Oh.
15, 16 altogether.
now fun fact, you also have Shred on it, which lets you re-roll damage if you'd like.
I would
freely.
I would like to roll the 2D4.
Yep, you can re-roll. Yep, you can re-roll the damage on that weapon. So go ahead.
All of it.
Yes, you have to re-roll the whole thing if you choose.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, that's an exploding D20. You love to see it.
Oh
What are
my
the odds of that?
God.
Exactly 1 in 20. Roll the 20 again.
31 points of damage.
It's a moment like this I'd like to let you know the trauma rating on these things is 4. They don't have a really high toughness. They're the
So it
Mongo.
didn't survive, is what you're saying there.
Not the fuck at all. So how do you murder this this dubious little beast?
So mostly by accident, because I'm not really used to killing little creatures with this weapon. Like I said, it's mostly for trees. But I want to just basically try and bop it, and the chain blade wraps around its neck. And as I panic and like shit, I try and pull it off. It spins,
Yeah.
and the head unscrews. Do you know like that weird trend that was going around where someone did a kick and they spun the
Oh
bottom?
yeah,
end
their
of the
head
bowl?
spins around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it goes like that and almost uncorks itself from its neck.
Yeah, this thing is an industrial thresher. The MCW V1 Chain Lash is technically a weapon of war, but when removed from its guards, it's basically just like a tree removal device. So you kind of just like lash it down, and then it wraps around this thing, and again, you kind of like panic, like oh shit, and you pull the igniting trigger as you pull your mech's arm back, and as it does, the thing and the chain rapidly begins to spin, and its lower body just kind of just like it just turns into a fine crimson mist as its head just spins up and lands nearby and bounces to a stop. Make your next attack, because that was your first initial attack. This dude is 100% fucking dead.
Jesus, I hope so.
1d8 and 1d6. You said d8, d6.
Okay.
Better one.
Any modifier?
2 or 3. 3 for the d8. What did I add to that? 4. So 7. 7 altogether.
That is enough to hit. They're actually pretty... Actually, let me check, just make sure. Yes, that is enough to hit. So go ahead, roll damage.
Excellent. And that's a
I also
D-
wanted to let you know, as a fact that you're working you're piloting a mech, you're fighting people on foot, that's double damage. So technically you rolled like...
62
damage.
points of
Jesus
damage.
62 damage.
Christ.
Yeah, no, there's a reason why jockeys are really good as line breakers.
Can't wait till
Just
you do
watch
that
out
to
for the
a
guy with the
fucking-
rocket-propelled grenade launcher.
I was about to say, I can't wait till you do that to a line of like
Yeah.
I don't know.
10
bad
plus
guys.
What do I add
Yeah.
to that? What do I add?
This would be your you +1 from your output, so that's
Yeah.
1, and so it'd just be 10 because it's d20 plus d20 plus 2d4 plus 1. So
It's
yeah,
11.
this would be
11.
yeah, so it'd be 11 total.
Mhm.
Doubling damage against this thing because you're attacking someone on foot,
Yeah.
which is enough to again just like kablooey it. Like
Oh my gosh.
as you swing the chain around from the first one, and it's still going. It's still like zzz, and it's neatly shredding the grass as it goes across it.
Yeah.
Then it catches this thing, and it just sort of like almost like a Neil Blomkamp film. Just there's a person there, and there's just like a pot of blood as it just gets obliterated. You do have a free attack with your manipulator claw if you want to make that too.
I do indeed, yeah. I'm guessing that's a different roll. Is that the same
Nope,
roll?
it's still combat. So combat just
Okay.
it'd be d20 plus 1, and then a d6. Take whichever's higher.
A D8 plus 1, surely not a D20 plus 1.
That's right. Yeah, it's tied to
Yeah.
your intellect. Correct. You didn't take it with might.
7, so 8 to hit.
Okay, that is actually that is enough. Yeah, that's 2 over, so that is enough to hit them. This
Okay.
dude, by the way, is long dead.
So 2 D20 plus. Do I add 2 D4 again? No.
No, this time you add d6, just a flat d6. Your
Eight.
manipulator claw is a little bit less.
That's
reachy.
probably fair, to be honest. 6 altogether plus 1, so 7 damage.
Correct, and it has a pen of 1s. That's 7 pen armor 1, which is technically it's 7 doubled because
Yep.
you're again fighting a dude on foot. So that's 14 with a pen of 1,
Yeah.
which is minus 7. That is enough. That's a little of a tougher one. This time you're not just swinging your flail around. You sort of reach out with one of your manipulator claws to sort of grab it, and as you just try to like push it away, you're in a mech. Like the manipulators are designed for heavy industrial work, carrying girders, like breaking trees. You kind of just like push it, and as you do, and you pull your hand back, like you realize you just kind of pushed it into the ground like a roach, and it's just a smear.
Oh.
So it's gone. It's very
I'm
dead.
gonna have to clean that.
All right. So that was you, Paul. Next up comes the workers. So the little guys at the back, the dubious little creatures you've been shooting. Yeah, and go blam blam. They all like seeing this happen. Ah! They all shriek at the same time and begin running at you guys. And as they do, a couple of these guys are actually going to run the old-fashioned way. So these back here, this guy's going to move normally. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this guy comes sprinting across the open ground, jaws articulating, and the other ones all move with it. They're going to actually run though. So they're going to sacrifice their combat action and move twice effectively.
Mm.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the other dude over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. As this one sort of leaps on top of a stone, one of the crystals, and just sort of jumps off of it. And you can see its wing casings open and just kind of... And it's not enough to lift it off the ground, but it's enough to let it hover gently to the ground and land. As the two of these things settle down, the third one, hanging back, rears its little jaws back and fires a bolt of acid.
Oh, God.
And I'm just going to make sure I got range on this, because this thing is... That's pretty good. Yeah, this is actually a gelatinous spray.
I'm like
So that is-
4 up, right?
Yes, you are. So I am factoring that in. So going from center to center.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are just into long range for it. Basically, you're into long range going upwards. Yeah, you're decently long range. You're still within shooting range of it though, as you're the one who's been
no.
shooting its buddies.
Not to
I
get
didn't-
mathematical on you, but
Yeah.
since apparently Derek's character is eye line with my character, he wouldn't have direct line of sight on Derek though, would he? Because I'd be in the
Well,
way.
that's the trick. He was eye height with your character when you were up on that ridge 2 ticks up.
Oh yes, no, my apologies.
So,
yeah, that's
yeah,
what
you're a 2x2x2 box
Yeah.
effectively on the table. And he is now 4 up
Yeah.
effectively. So no, he would have line of sight. Oh, good eye. So this thing sort of shoots its acid at you. Derek, what's your defense?
6.
6. Okay, cool. So I need to roll this little guy's aim. This guy shoots. See ballistics. So that is D6 plus 1. Okay. This one's going to be a little rough. So,
I should have bought a personal
here we
shield.
yeah. All right, so here we go. D6 plus 1. 2e. And
Whew.
he does in fact miss you. You see this jet of what looks like almost like comically gack colored green shoots not quite high enough to catch you, sort of like lands below you and on the crystal. And as it does, you can see that it doesn't actually react with the crystal, but it's reacting with the air boiling as it's touching it and sliding down the crystal. And the little creature is looking up at you and just articulates its mandibles kind of at you, very clearly like pumping more fluid into its little shooty sack. Which now you get what that little weird fleshy sack on its forehead is for. It's for shooting acid.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you get the feeling this thing often would probably use that for like gnawing down trees and like messing with stone and
Digesting iron.
Yeah, exactly. And you realize, oh right, these things are from the Shrike homeworld. No wonder. This is their equivalent of like raccoons.
Jesus.
So, yeah, no, it gives you a real appreciation for what the Shrike have to deal with on their homeworld. We're at the top of the initiative order. Kushitaka, it's on you, buddy.
Is it possible for me to line up a shot and hit both of them? Like 2 of them at once? Because my weapon deals so much damage, it could theoretically travel through one and kill the other one behind it.
Eventually, you will have that capacity. Not right now. That
Got
is
it.
a trait you can take later. It's called line them up, and it literally lets you like curve the bullet, basically.
Cool.
So, look out for that one. It's super fun. But right now, you got to choose one or the other.
In that case, I'm just going to sacrifice my movement to reload and shoot. Not the one that spat acid at me because he might have a recharge or something. I don't know. I don't know how often he can do that. I'm gonna shoot at this one.
Okay. I will let you know, mechanically speaking, in Legacy, there are very few abilities that are on recharge.
Okay, so he'll just be able to keep doing that.
Yeah. I figured I'd let you know that because that's a mechanical system thing we're also learning. I don't feel like depriving you of knowledge that you'd have no reason to know.
Appreciate it.
Okay, no worries. But, so you're still shooting that guy?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Make the shot. Take the shot, Chief.
8.
Okay. Oh, that hits.
8. Yeah.
Yeah, that's more than... That is enough to hit. Yes, that is enough to hit.
Cool.
They are, at this point, I can just let you both know, the soldiers are defense 6, the workers are defense 5.
Got it.
So if you roll over those numbers, you will be hitting. So now you roll damage, Chief.
25. Kablam!
Yeah, absolutely. Another, like, the workers don't even have 4 trauma points. They have 3. So, like, you are... it is as if the finger of God just reached from the sky and just gently,
You die now. You
Yes.
die now. You die
just bang, just gone in an instant. Pop. And all that's left behind is just like a streak of grime, of crimson grime on the ground. There's not even like enough of particulate matter of chitin to identify it as like having been a bug. So, all right, from that goes on to Dalan, who, observing from up here, kind of like scoots a little closer, and you can see like his hand is kind of like outstretched a little bit, like keeping it out just in case he would need to intervene. But he seems to be confident in your abilities to handle this, honestly. Speaking of, the soldiers go next. So, Soldier! And, oh yeah, that's right. Before, we didn't resolve the thing on your turn because the soldiers went before you, Louis. Louis, I'm going to make a d6 roll of damage on you fast because this is from the corrosion. This is from one of the corrosion tokens you have on you. So one of the 2 corrosion
Don't
tokens
feel
on
like you have to do that.
Resolves.
You know?
You don't have to.
Right.
you.
You're in
So it's
charge
D6.
here, okay?
It's just a flat d6,
Right.
no damage. So it just sort of sizzles harmlessly on your armor. It is slowly trying to eat its way through. It's probably just like dissolving the paint at the
I
moment.
just want to double check I get the concept of this. I don't take damage because that's lower than my defense, right?
It's
No,
lower
because
than your
it's lower than your
toughness or
max.
your armor.
Armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
11. Right.
The reason why he's still rolling a d6 despite the fact that you have 10 armor is because the dice can explode.
Exploding dice, that's fine.
Exactly. This is an exploding dice system.
Which I
Even
love.
Thank you. Yeah. Even like the smallest weapon can kill the biggest thing in Legacy with dumb luck. And sometimes, you get those awesome moments. I've had players literally kill starships with rocket propelled grenades. It's really fucking cool. So, speaking of, we're gonna go back to our soldiers. So the soldiers all sort of like the one remaining soldier is fearlessly clamping onto you. And as it does, you realize it actually is just clamped onto you. Its jaw is locked, and it is just applying further pressure. Now, this is where we get into why rock hopper soldiers are dangerous. Individually, not too scary, but when you get a horde of them clamped onto you, they have two keywords you should be aware of. One, critical corrosion. Two, they crit you, they do corrosion tokens to you. Two, they are one of the few things in the entire game that has continuous. Continuous means if you hit once, as long as you don't change targets, all subsequent attacks auto-hit.
Nice.
So he just hits you as he's just clamping down, a little vice applying more and more pressure. So now we're at might, so this is D8 plus D4. So we doing these one at a time. A D8, a D4, and not enough.
Nothing.
My boy here just trying really hard to pop your leg, and it's just not working. This thing is just shrieking in rage,
I
trying
get the
to
sound effect
dislodge
of a
you.
doggy toy, like squeak.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That's its turn. And at the top of yours, Louis, we resolve the other acid roll as the corrosion begins to eat through you again. Still not enough. The acid just harmlessly slides off. So, I'm not going to lie. I've been debating back and forth. This is a genuine question. I'm asking both chat and you guys because this is a beta test. And I want both chat and you guys' input. I used to have it where corrosion was a D4. And the reason I did is because it was far more likely to crit. Do you think I should return to that?
I think it should vary.
Vary? Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Maybe
it scales up like 1d4 and then like 1d6 and then like it goes 2d4 and then like 2d6 and then it scales up like that because that's going to make it more likely to crit, probability speaking.
Yeah. The real trick also is when it's against a person on foot, it's a lot more threatening than against an actual mech, which is the right play, by the way, you guys made. Put big robot guy in front, let him take all the damage meant for infantry.
I can also read a combat scenario.
Very true, yes, indeed. Very heighten the chaos, indeed. That's fair. I also have other mechanics that have similar damage like this. That'd be thermal tokens, but we'll deal with that later. We're in the middle of a combat encounter. Thank you all for your input. So, as this thing just is like gnawing on your leg, and you can feel the acid just seeping from what's left over of that spittle on the one you'd already pulverized. It's your turn again, buddy. You have your movement and your actions, and you have two hands, so
Two
you can
bullets
move
left.
and slap. Yeah, whatever you'd like. And you can interrupt movement to attack too. Like, movement action is just a thing you have to resolve over the course of your turn.
Yeah.
So-
I'm going to put my chainsaw away and just try and hit it twice with a manipulator claw.
Okay. Very
Oh,
fair.
I think you might have said me, or I heard my name when I wasn't supposed to. My bad. I'll keep that roll for the next round. My bad.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, that was supposed to be Paul. Sorry. See, Paul. Also Louis is what I meant to say. Louis.
I might have just
I
misheard
was-
you. It's also possible.
That's fair. We
So
going for it.
that is D8 and D6 again.
Yep, indeed.
Scroll down. I forgot one adding to it. A 4?
So it's a 6. Oh,
Yeah.
a 4?
No, well,
Oh, yeah,
what do I
yeah,
add?
that's right. Yeah, because it's 3 plus. Yes, a
Yeah.
4. That actually misses.
No, sorry, it's 7 altogether. I add a 4. I rolled a 3, I add a 4. That makes 7.
Okay. Yes. No, that does in fact hit. That just hits.
So
I was like, really?
Oh,
Yeah, but no, you did it. That's
Yeah.
your defense 6. Roll your damage. I will also let you know you can attempt to make it non-lethal since manipulator claws are effectively your hands. But it's your choice if you want to like actually
Adopt
kill the thing or not.
Break it from its hive mind and adopt it.
I will say
Uh,
rockhopper legs are supposedly a delicacy.
I'm not gonna eat my pet's legs, Omni. That's fucked up. I can't believe you even suggest. I'm just kidding.
That's too far, okay?
That's fair.
Yeah, I'll go for non-lethal. I'm gonna go for non-lethal.
Okay. that's
So,
fair.
D20 again?
Yep, D20 plus D6 because of the manipulator claw.
11, 12, because I got +1.
Okay, yeah, no, that is more than enough. Because again, it is doubled, so that's 24. This thing does not have that much health. So you kind of just like put your hand on it and just like push and push, and eventually sort of pops off your leg, and you just sort of keep pushing it until it's just like laying in the ground on its stomach. Its jaw kind of like open as it's just looking up at you, and it's just submitted at this point, like. And in no small part because it's now in
No
like
bite.
it's in like a rock hopper shaped hole in the wet mud. Like you literally pushed it into the mud. It's just kind of like, I guess this is what I'm doing now.
I guess I
this is
live
my-
here.
This is my life
Yeah.
now.
This is my life now. Yeah. Yeah. No. It's down. I'm going to put it at health of 0 because it is effectively at health 0. It is tuckered out and it does not feel like resisting, so it's just gonna sit there.
Yeah.
It is not dead.
I'm going to point at where its teeth marks are and go, no, bad. You, this, bad. But obviously, I'm in my giant mech suit with my like mandible claw type thing, so just like, bad.
Mm.
I'm
That's
gonna
funny.
call that an intimidation roll.
Okay.
So that's gonna be tied to. Oh man, this is gonna be interesting.
Do I use my
You
mech
could either-
intimidation?
Yes, this would be will. This would be will. You're not trained in it, but you do get a bit. Every role, every discipline in the game, which is like your skills, are tied to your attributes. So if you're untrained, you just make what the tied attribute would be. And for willpower, it would be in this instance. For this, it'd be coercion. I guess would be what this role is. Coercion.
Yeah.
So that would be your willpower roll.
So my D6 exploded into an 11 for intimidation.
Okay, and these things are, despite being animals, they're smart enough to know how to like interact in the world. So they do have, I believe, a D4. So yeah, D4.
Oh,
Oh, it explodes.
Oh,
7. These things look at you and hiss, and they are just nah, dog. You kicked an ant's nest. You can't tell the ants to not keep coming at you. That is how we're going to be. So yeah, you do still have your movement and another claw, and I'm going to say you're not going to get a claw attack because you did just try to intimidate them away.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to
fine.
say that's the rest of your action, but you can move if you'd like, since that other one is not up against you now.
and it's in the ground, so it's got to stay there.
Yeah, no, it is down there. Yeah, it's not moving. Consider it knocked out because it is mechanically.
I'm going to move, and I'm going to move my 7 spaces to here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget you are in your mech, so you're using your mech's pace.
Oh
of
yeah,
5.
shit, of course. 5. Sorry, I'll move back there.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, because it'd be from the front of where you were. So 1,
Yeah.
2, 3. You should be able to get all the way out to this one if you wanted.
Yeah, I'll do
I
that.
believe. Okay, that's good. All right, so it's going to go from Louis to the workers, and the workers are now kind of divided and unsure of what to do. I'm going to make an intelligence roll for them. Nope, they are little dubious creatures, and they are not geniuses. So the getting shot at by sniper rifle, scary. Getting smushed by a big predator beast, that's way more concerning.
true.
These things turn their attention to you.
Smart.
Yeah,
Good creatures.
Yeah, that's
Um,
probably fair.
yeah. They turn their attention to you as you approach, and they are going to take shots at you all. You are within short range, I think, for both of them. So
Mhm.
let's see. Actually, hold on. 1, 2. Oh yeah, no, you're in short range for both. So they are actually not operating at a loss for this. That's pretty nice. Okay, so rolling the die. For once, they actually roll like average rolls. It's going to be beautiful. I hope, anyway. Little Rocky boys, come on. There we go. Okay, so for this, These guys use coordination. Their coordination is actually a d6. So d6 plus their ballistics, which is 1. Okay, so they're just d6 plus 1. D6 plus 1. Go! Okay, so what is... Your defense is 5, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so that first one hits you. And the second one also hits you on the nose, actually. Like, perfectly on the nose.
Just spraying him down, hosing him down.
Just hose them down, guys. And now we're gonna get the damage done. So these little guys are spraying what doesn't appear to be like pure acid. This is like webbing that they're shooting at you. They're trying to slow you down. So the first one, 6, doesn't do anything. Second one, 5, doesn't do anything. As they're literally shooting you with like silly string, practically, just as you're approaching.
This is a
trying
mild
to slow you
inconvenience, people.
Mhm.
Yeah, you get, and as you see, like, this stuff is, like, hitting you, it's expanding quickly into globules, and as you walk, it's mostly breaking off, but, like, you see as it lands on the ground, it's slowly expanding, and then it darkens like stone, then you realize, like, yeah, when these guys gets lucky, they might even immobilize you. So, yeah, nah, that's their turn. We're back at the top. Ishitaka, who do you point the finger of God at this time?
Do you want me to keep that 6, or do you want me to roll again?
Oh no, you rolled a 6. That's fair. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I'll let you keep it since you made it last turn. That hits. What are you gonna do for damage?
Oops, forgot that line.
I'm sure something fantastic.
Oh.
And yet again, the
31 points
report of your
damage.
rifle barks out, and which of these two little dorks is going to dissolve?
The one that's in line of sight.
Or you could, if you wanted to, shoot the one in the ground for no reason whatsoever.
Nah, that's cool.
There's nothing
Uh,
stopping you from doing that.
I'm gonna pop the
That's
one that I don't have interrupted line of sight to.
That's very fair. Yeah, at this point, you are kind of like getting to that point where he is getting close with the block line of sight. But this one, yeah, kablooey, gone. Just like, again, just like bang. And as the echo travels across the little cavern you're in, you see the little guy just pop and is like gone. Again, he just ceases to exist. Critical existence failure.
Delete.
So we're getting on to, at this point, Delon, who's just like, just watching at this point. He's not even like, he was getting ready to spring in action, but he's just sitting there dangling his feet over the edge. Just like watching, like, oh, they appear to be doing their job well enough.
Mhm.
We're on to you now, Louis, as there's no more soldiers nearby.
Okay. Am I able to pick this one up and just launch him as
Oh my God.
far away as possible?
Go away!
Yeah, I
Fast
just
all the way.
Tell
Yeet.
myself he's going to land perfectly safely in another realm of existence, nowhere near me.
He
This
is.
is
He's gonna land in the afterlife.
Yeah.
This is the equivalent of like grabbing a spider under a cup and then running to the door and just throwing it as hard as you
Yeah.
fucking can.
Precisely.
And just hoping like it's just not near you when it lands.
I mean, if it's
All
a
right, yeah,
tarantula,
no. Make me a combat roll, and I'm assuming you're trying not to kill it. So
Well,
yeah, no.
I'm
You know,
trying-
okay, you're not trying to not kill it.
Yeah,
you're just trying to like.
I'm underarming it really quickly away from me.
All right, that's fair.
So what was that? A combat roll?
Correct. Yes. So that'll be tied to your intellect again. So that's.
I
your-
do have combat as a discipline.
Yep. So that's going to be on your processor. So that'd be okay.
I just thought about this thing flying through the like through the sky, just like
Oh, God, it
for so long. And he's
exploded.
like sitting upright, and he like starts to like look around. Some birds chirp and like circle around him overhead before flying off, and he's just like, "Huh? Well, I wonder what the meaning of
I
it all
did
was."
20 points of. Oh no, I didn't do 20 points of damage. I hit for 20.
You hit him, yeah, with a
Yeah.
20.
God.
You absolutely fucking grab him.
He going for a trip.
Make me. This is a pure output roll. D20 plus 1 is what your mech's output is. Because again, you're in a mech. So, and you. Oh my god, yeah, you also double this as well after
Yeah.
mods.
So that's
that's
39 points of damage.
The mod is doubled as well. It's
Oh, it's,
after mod.
it's
everything
40.
doubles.
It's 40 points of
40.
damage.
God.
So you scoop down and like, as opposed to trying to grab him, you just sort of grab all the terrain under him as well, like a fucking earth mover. Scoop it up and just kind of like, and describe how you throw him.
So
Like,
it is underarm still, but my mech of like I'm new to the mech. It's got some bugs maybe, and I actually twist the entire arm around and then do it, and the extra momentum sends it flying into the distance to safely land on a bouncy castle or something.
yeah. Yeah, you as you scoop it up, you press one of the right foot paddles a little harder than you meant, and it actually spins your mech's torso 360 degrees on axis. You kind of just trebuchet it away, sort of like, get out of here!
Yeah.
And as you throw it, the thing like just like flies away like a fastball. Yeah, you just feel like in the distance, and eventually you see like it reaches the apogee of its flight. It's like a little speck. It just like gently flutters down on its wings because it doesn't. They do have the float wing keyword, so they don't take fall damage.
Oh, nice. He does.
So
live.
yeah, like it's off the map. I usually, as a parlance, just say like a roll like that from a mech. I just consider like each success rolled against a thing that small is just like another box of movement it gets. So yeah, you just threw it 40 boxes away, which is farther than the edge of the map. And I thought this was a pretty big map too. And yeah, you just like yeet, and it just
It's gone.
flies off in the distance. And with that, after a couple of seconds, you hear Calcifer's little ding 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 over your intercom, and you see his adorable smiling AI little icon. This is the eyes sort of happily glowing as it bounces. Local threat nullified. Threats assessment recalibrating. Threat assessment, no threat. You are now free to explore. Thank you. And I think that is where we're going to end the session. We're at
Thank you,
3:13.
Calcifer. I appreciate your feedback.
Hell yeah, that was awesome, dude. Combat's cool.
Thank you. For the record, Soul, I hope you know, I've kept both of those increased threat ratings. Take a guess how dangerous that fight was by comparison to what might be coming very soon.
Wait,
But
what?
there was a
No,
lot.
no, that means your next combat had to be threatening. That's what those points were, right? Not, I'll just keep them.
Oh, don't worry. The combat's over, but the consequences move onward. So,
As
with
always.
Well,
that,
I'm not the one
yeah,
that
the
tried to
session.
slaughter everybody, you know. Just
oh, don't worry. I keep a track of my players' morality too, and I thought it was super swell of you to save
Oh, yeah.
that little dude.
That was cute.
To be fair, my character had no idea that it had a falling safety net. Like, as far as he was concerned, it was just going away.
I did try to telegraph it earlier with it like leaping off a rock, just fluttering down.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
they did have that ability. It's just one of those like, I didn't know if you guys would pick up on it, and it worked out well.
They have chicken flight.
They do. I literally, I'm not gonna lie, the Rockhoppers were inspired by a. If anyone's ever had the fun time of watching the Tremors films,
I was literally
the
thinking
first-
about Tremors while you were describing them.
yep, they're the ass blaster ones that come later. I wish that was not the name they use, but that is in fact the formal like canon name for those creatures.
Beautiful.
Was my idea for these things. Just a little bit less vulgar and a little bit more dangerous.
They were good. They were a lot of fun. Combat is a lot of fun, like Derek said. I enjoyed it. I got to launch someone into the fucking stratosphere.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate it, guys. I know that the dice roller isn't optimized for compounded rolls. So if you guys ever want to use normal dice instead, especially as we get like bigger dice pools, don't hesitate.
Cool.
I trust y'all. All right, that's me, Derek. I turn it over to you, my friend.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Omni. Thank you for running this. This game rules. Cannot wait for more Legacy. Been waiting for it for a long time, so I guess I'll wait for just a little bit longer. But I appreciate it, man. No, this is awesome. I'm having a great time. Chat, thank you all for being here. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the
Yeah.
souls, the resubs. Thank you very much. Paul, where can people find you?
So, I am Paul, aka Ampersand. I have been your mech suit badass today. You can find me on Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch at AmpersandD20. And a brand new Kickstarter coming out later this year, Descendium. Become a Viking legend, fight the Greek gods. win, basically. Starts
yeah.
at level 20 and work downwards. A level down
Woo!
system that I've
Fucking cool.
incorporated into the game.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's me.
Thank you for being here, man. Much love. Much appreciated as always,
Absolute
dude.
pleasure as always.
Hell yeah, dog. Omni, what's good?
Oh man, thank you all so much for tuning in as always. This is session 1, and I know for a fact that we are currently down a couple players, and they both wish they could have made it through the whole thing. I really appreciate JJ. Thank you for making it for what bit you could. And to Bon, I know you worked really hard today, and I just want to say I love you. I can't wait to have you in all the future sessions. My fiance is amazing, and she's been super supportive of this project the entire time.
Yeah, she rules.
She does rule. She's awesome. As far as everyone else, you guys can catch me on my Twitch, twitch.tv/TheLastOmnitect, where I do world building, rule smithing, and art, as well as also occasionally hanging out and vibing. And I'm now also doing APs on my channel as well. I've done my first ever Pathfinder 2e game, which happens to have our boy Derek in it. Sorry. I guess
It was a
it'd
lot of
be-
fun.
Yes.
Right, wherever you are on the screen.
Derek over. Yeah, Derek in it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was super fun. I can't wait to run it again. It's going to be every other week. So not this week, but the week after at 7:30 p.m. EST. We are also going to have a couple of other people in on that as well. Dylan and Bon is on that one as well. And if you guys are interested in any more about Legacy, Storytelling the World Tomorrow, the system we're running, or just the Legacy First Flight campaign we're running here, keep an eye out on my channel. I often do rule smithing and character creation, model creation, terrain creation for this game there. So stay tuned. You'll see more and maybe even get some secrets about what's coming before the players do.
Oh,
That's me.
well, thank you very much. Thank you again for running it, man. Thank you for all the hard work and the dedication and the love that you put into this game. It very much shines through, and I really appreciate it, man. Legacy rules.
Dude, thank you. After 20 years of working on it, they couldn't have found a better home. Thank you.
Oh, I'm honored to have it. Well, folks, stick around. We're going to be raiding into MC Ninja Kitten. You can get yourself 10% off your custom DMD dice case by going to ko-fi.com/theshadysale using code RPGIN at checkout. They are beautiful. They absorb sunlight and they glow in the dark, so check them out. But yeah, we're going to be raiding into MC Ninja Kitten. First person that ever raided into the channel, so let's make sure we share some love, share some positivity. Yes, way back in the day, very first person. So much love to MC Ninja Kitten. But you can catch us live here in about 2 more hours with Covet Syndicate. So past death and back once more to the mortal coil. Our journey continues. See you guys in just a little bit. Bye.
Very
Peace,
nice.
Voyagers.